Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. We have game week 5, and we have probably the most calm game week. I say that now. Calm game week we'll have for a little while. So I think next week lots of people will be playing chips. In fact, I'm yet to see anyone that doesn't seemingly want to play a chip in 6, whether that be free hit, wildcard. Some people bench boost, triple captain, of course, will be very popular as well. Without a doubt, I'll be playing a chip next week. For me, I've narrowed it down to wildcard or triple captain. But yeah, I think it will be a very exciting week next week. So this does feel a little bit like the calm before the storm, although I could kind of do with a positive storm. I could do with getting a green arrow and putting me in a good position ahead of game week 6. But yeah, I think if I don't wildcard, I'll triple captain Haaland. And if I do wildcard, obviously I won't be able to. And I know a lot of people are looking at playing their free hit. And honestly, I still don't mind the free hit play either. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Where's that? And then I want to bring you, there you go. Kieran says, having a nightmare, 1 free transfer, 2.3 mil in the bank, 8.5 million. You're not that far behind me, mate. Right, your team. And what do you want to know? What do I do? Roll -4 next week for Haaland, Semenyo, Gabriel. Do you need a transfer this week? Team looks pretty good this week. Richarlison's a bit suspect, let's say. But I suppose part of the transfers next week is to sell him, sell Salah. You've still got Verts. Now, I mean, it is wide. You could wildcard that, Kieran. I will be honest. It's borderline wildcardable, but I think you could probably also get away with, like you say, taking a hit next week. I don't know that there's tons that you need to do with it this week. Sarr and Richarlison kind of stick out, though, as having 2 potential issues. Yeah. Please play your wildcard next week, or else you're going to struggle to get back to 100 million team value by the end of the season. I don't really care at this stage, Frosty. I've given up. I've given up with the team value. I don't think it matters too much anyway. People overemphasize the importance of team value. You just have to make one sacrifice. Rather than go for Semenyo, I have to go for Njai or something like that. Like, I don't really... I think if you're really trying to maximize it all season, it's worth it. But at this stage, I saw Praz say the same thing. Like, at this stage, my team value's in the bin. If I wildcard in 6, I don't suddenly have fantastic team value. I just have slightly better team value than I would have otherwise. But it doesn't help me at all. What's the saying? You can't polish a turd. It's a bit like that, isn't it? It's like, oh, now my team value is 99.6 rather than 99.2. It's in the bin anyway. It's just difficult at the start of the season because everyone and their mother and their nan wants to make like 400 early transfers. Like, how has Semenyo gone up that many times? I also do wonder, by the way, a lot of the players that have gone up in price, I'm not that convinced that I'll have on a Game Week 8 wildcard. I don't know that I'll have Semenyo by that point. I don't know that I'm that desperate to have João Pedro at that point, with Europe, obviously. So it will be interesting to see if I actually want to have all the players that have gone up. And also, you say my team value will be in the bin. That's under the assumption that the players that I own don't do anything. And obviously, if that's the case, then I'm in more trouble than team value. But Florian Wirtz and Ollie Watkins and Bruno Fernandes and Kudus, they're only going to fall in price if they don't return. So I basically, it goes hand in hand, right? Why is my team value in the bin? Because my players are playing terribly. If my players start actually playing... football, then maybe the team value won't be in the bin. So there we go. All of that to say, I'm not too stressed about team value. It is what it is. By the way, if you are here already, could I please ask you to like the stream? We're not even at 100 likes. It's outrageous behaviour from you guys, but please do consider liking. I appreciate it. Same bench as you, would you bench boost? I can't justify bench boosting with Mark Guiu on there because he's not going to start. And if he does come on, it'll be for like 20 mins. And he could do some damage. I don't know. What I am more interested to know what you guys think is I am tempted to start Dubravka. My thought process behind this, if we actually, let's go over to Twitter. And let's go on to Rob T FPL. Where is it? This was from a few days ago, wasn't it? I don't know if this is the updated one. But Burnley have a 24% chance of a clean sheet. Chelsea have a 22% chance of a clean sheet. So basically, Burnley have a slightly greater chance for a clean sheet. And on top of that, I don't have any Nottingham Forest attackers, but I do have Bruno Fernandes. So it does feel like if they're very equal anyway, start the one where it's not clashing with one of my team. I wouldn't use that in my decision making normally, but in this case, like I say, if they're comparable, also Burnley playing at home, I just can't see Forest not scoring. Although, I think Manchester United probably score. That's not bias at all there. I just think the numbers we're putting up, Chelsea have been slightly suspect at points defensively. It does kind of feel like both concede. The updated odds are Burnley 23 and Chelsea 21. There we go. So there's still a 2% difference between them. Good morning, Nana Raptor. Good to see you as always. Not many people can say that they have their nan watching their live streams on a Saturday morning, but I can. Should I bench boost this week? I have Dubravka, Kudus, Senesi, and Estev. That's an easy bench boost, Lewis. Yeah, 100% I bench boost that. Hi, Ross. Would you bench boost Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Van de Ven, Goodmanson? I would bench boost that, yeah. I guess I will answer all of your... Please still send in your individual bench boost questions, but I guess my viewpoint on it is I would absolutely bench boost if all 15 of your players look like they should start and your bench is semi-decent. The reason I'm not bench boosting myself is because one of my players is Guiu. If you replaced Guiu on my bench with Thiago or Muniz or, I don't know, rather than Guiu, if it was Anderson or something like that, then I would absolutely consider it. Like, if my bench was instead this, I would bench boost that 100%. If it was instead Dubravka, Reinders, Estev, Richards, but it's not. That would be a lie if I made that my bench. My bench includes Guiu. So yeah, I do think it's a really good week to play the bench boost. Mr. Glenn Jensen has become a Raptor Elite member. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Glenn. Make sure to send me an email to get added to the Raptor group chat. Start Adingra or Van de Ven. Also have Porro. That's a tough one. That is a very tough one. What have Adingra's minutes been like? I don't actually... These are the sort of players that I'm just not checking because I don't plan on owning. Adingra. Assuming Adingra's minutes have been okay, I'd be tempted. They've not. Okay, I'd start Van de Ven. 75, 62, 25, 68. No guarantee starts. Won't get more than 70. Yeah, I'd probably start Van de Ven in that case. Might get a clean sheet. Might get DEFCON. With the way that they're taking their corners, you might get a headed goal as well from Van de Ven. APAC says, should I bench boost 5 and wildcard 6 or delay? João Pedro, Watkins, Woods, Menyo, Rogers, Salaverts, Richards. That looks like that's a possible bench wildcard 6. What I'll say is, firstly, I think that's an absolutely fine bench boost. So yes, I would bench boost that APAC. Would I wildcard? I think you need to see how your team get on this weekend. Like, if Verts looks rubbish again, Rogers and Watkins fail to return, Chris Wood gets like 40 minutes or 30 minutes or something, then I think you are leaning towards a wildcard. If Wood gets 90, Watkins and Rogers get on the score sheet, Verts finally starts looking a little bit better, then maybe you think, do you know what, I can delay this a few more weeks. But I would definitely at least start with the bench boost. Shazam says, good morning, mate. Good morning, Shazam. Good to see you. Some great vids this week. Thank you. You are more than welcome. Rolling this week with the bench boost active. I have captain on Palmer. I like Palmer captain a lot. But who to put the vice captain on? João Pedro, Watkins, Semenyo, or Wood? Just in case Palmer does not play. Yeah, I suppose with Palmer captain, you actually need to think about it. Like with Salah captain, you just know he's going to... Well, I say that. You expect him to play every game. Who's a better vice captain? I honestly would put it on Watkins. People won't like that. People won't like it. Anytime that I mention anything positive about Bruno Fernandes, Watkins, Verts, people hate it. But I'd put the vice captain on Watkins personally, Shazam. That's who I've got my vice captain on as well. And thank you for the love as always. Kieran says, a back 5 of Dubravka, Porro, Milenkovic, Dorgu, Estev to bench Richarlison and Dorgu this week. Also love the content, mate. Thank you very much, Kieran. So, to bench Richarlison and Dorgu? I'm a bit confused. Do you mean Richarlison and Sarr? I wouldn't want to start Dorgu. I'd probably rather start Richarlison than Dorgu, in all honesty, mate. I don't know if that was the question, but I'd have Richarlison starting ahead of Dorgu. Joseph Stacks says, good morning, Ross. Start one of Tino, Grealish, or Elliott. Oh, good question, Joseph. Tino, Grealish. So Tino against Bournemouth, Grealish against Liverpool, Elliott against Sunderland. If Elliott starts, he's great, but does Elliott start again? I'd honestly start Jack Grealish there, I think. Yeah, I'd go Grealish. I expect Everton to score, or I at least expect them to get chances. Discover with Sim says João Pedro and Kudus or Xavi and Evan Nilsson. Big love, everyone. João Pedro and Kudus or Xavi and Evan Nilsson. Probably João Pedro and Kudus, I would say. I don't think there's that much in it, but yeah, probably that way. Because I think I would prefer João Pedro to Evan Nielsen. And I think Kudus versus Xavi Simons. I prefer Xavi Simons, but I think that one's a little bit closer. Bench Elanga for a Stev. No, I'd start Elanga. I don't know, though, because he's just not been starting in the Prem. I would still start Elanga, I think, and hope that he starts. Trina says, hi, Ross. Do you think Salah will have a quiet game? I think so. There was an interview with Salah, which I thought was quite interesting. Salah mentioned that he no longer spends the entire game desperately striving to be there in every single moment and every single attack. What he does is make sure that he delivers in the moments that he gets. So he's almost commented on the fact that he knows that he's getting older. He's not going to be sprinting around the pitch and going on insane dribbles. But when he gets the chance, he concentrates and delivers. And that's what we've seen from him. So do I expect Salah will have a quiet game? Quite possibly. And I think we'll see that a lot this season. I don't think that means anything, though. I think that's one of those biases that we have of we need to see a player constantly touching the ball. Like Haaland, every single game other than the Man United one, has had a quiet game where he doesn't really feel like he's in the game and then he delivers in that moment. So as long as Salah continues to deliver in that moment, I don't mind it. I think Salah is a significantly better captain than Wood this week, personally. The Moon Kitty has become a Raptor X member. Thank you very much, the Moon Kitty. I appreciate you. Look at everyone becoming members. What legends. Start one of Elanga, Porro, or Reinders. That's an interesting one. I'd risk it on Elanga because I think he's the best of the three. If he starts. If you're a little concerned, I think you've probably got it in order for me, Bob. Bless you. Hayden says, who should I bench? Paquetá or Njai? I would start, they're both penalty takers. I'd probably start Paquetá or play my bench boost. Dubravka, Njai, Juve, and Estev. I'd bench boost that, Hayden. Yeah, I'd bench boost that. Personally. I mean, I haven't seen the rest of your team. If there are other risks, if you've got Murillo and an Elanga, if you've got various players that could conceivably not play, then no. But just looking at the bench, I think that's bench boostable. Darren says, good morning, Ross. Good morning, Darren. Haaland, Pedro, Watkins, Semenyo, Reinders, Eze, and Bermo, Njai, Gay, Gabriel, Richardson, Essia, Stev on wildcard. I was about to say, I really like that team, but you're on a wildcard, so that makes sense. Would you make any changes? Could drop Eze and Njai and swap for Palmer and King. So I would want Palmer on a wildcard, absolutely. When you say, though, Eze and Njai versus Palmer and King, I prefer the Eze and Njai combination, so that's very difficult. I mean, I suppose the place where you could find funds is Watkins. So Watkins down would give you enough money to go and get Palmer without having to get King as well. I think your team looks really nice, though. The more I think about a wild card, and I don't know if I'm definitely wildcarding next week, but I do wonder if you're going Palmer, do you also need to go João Pedro as well, or is that the position you drop down to a cheaper forward? All of that to say, I would want Palmer, yes, but I think in isolation, I actually prefer the Eze and Njai price points and pairing. I suppose, though, final thing on that, Darren, I would rather Palmer for the next couple of weeks, and I don't think you need Njai or Eze for the next couple. Njai this week has Liverpool, Eze has City and then Newcastle. So maybe start with Palmer and King, and then worst case, if Palmer isn't doing it, you can then make the switch at that point. And if Palmer is doing it, you could always sell Bermo to Eze or something like that in Game Week 8. So maybe starting with the Palmer team is better. I'll leave that for you to decide. Rambo says, Murillo, Brennan, Johnson and Bruno to Senesi, Palmer, Matoma -8. No. I think Murillo will start for what it's worth, and if he doesn't, he shouldn't feature at all, so you should get someone off the bench. I don't think I would want to sell Bruno as part of a -8. Maybe just look at Brennan Johnson to a better midfielder, unless you desperately want Palmer and you're going to captain him. If you're going to captain Palmer, Rambo, and you really want him, go for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't take the hit. Andy Martin has cancelled the derby due to weather. Oh no. What's he been saying? I'll have a look now. I have heard that the weather's quite bad in Liverpool this weekend. Yeah, he'll be on a wind-up all morning. Joseph says, thanks, Ross. Semenyo, Haaland, or Mateta for captaincy? I think out of those, I'd still go Haaland. I don't mind. The thing is, if I knew that Mateta was getting 80-plus minutes, I would have Mateta pretty high. But the comments from Glasner were not particularly positive. He said that the reason that Mateta is missing so many chances is because he's so fatigued, and then continues to play him like 90 minutes in cup games. But yeah, that isn't a great thing to hear. And I think Nketiah should be back, so he could take like 20, 30 mins off him. So I would probably say Haaland, Semenyo, Mateta in that order. Richard says, I'm thinking of 3 options. Okay. 1, Guiu to Walter-Made and bench boost. 2, Juve to Van Dijk and roll. Or roll. Oh, I assume option 3 is roll. Okay. I'm on a 5-3-2. Senesi, Williams, Rodon, Porro, Barnes, Salah, Haaland, Gakpo, Evanilson. Okay. Guiu to Walter-Made and bench boost. I mean, that is a bench boostable team. I haven't seen every player that you've got there, though, obviously. If the rest of your team all looks good, I don't mind the Guiu to Walter-Made and bench boost. The issue is we don't even know if Walter-Made will start. He has said about like protecting Walter-Made a little bit. Sorry guys, I'm a bit sniffly this morning. Trying to not sniff too much down the mic. I would go Guiu to Walter-Made if the rest of the team looks good. Otherwise, I would probably roll. I don't think Juve to Van Dijk is something I desperately want to do this week. Merseyside derby, early kickoff. I could see Everton scoring a goal. Is Eze in the lineup today? No idea. This is the issue I have with buying an Arsenal attacker that isn't Gyökeres. Is every single week I think you're going to get there and go, is Eze starting? Is Madueke starting? For what it's worth, I do think it will be Eze and Madueke again. I think they've been too good. So yeah, I would say it's not today, is it? It's tomorrow, right? It is tomorrow, isn't it? 4:30 kickoff, right? Yeah, tomorrow. I'm considering Munoz captain. Don't love that personally. Is Jeremy from Palace a good 1 week punt? I guess so, but I don't think 1 week punts exist anymore. I don't think 1 week punts exist anymore personally. Christopher says, hi Ross, Vicario or Martinez until my wildcard week 8? I wouldn't make a goalkeeper transfer if you're wildcarding in 8. If you are, though, probably Vicario. Start Murillo or Esteve. I'd start Murillo. And I do think with Murillo, because he's a centre-back, you'd imagine he either starts or just doesn't play. I don't see Murillo coming on for like 20 minutes. I don't see the point in that. If he's fit, start him. And if he's not fit, don't risk him for 20 minutes. Would you bench boost with Strand Larsen? That's a tough one. If we take Vitor Pereira's comments at face value, then yes, I would. Because he'll get probably somewhere between 30 and 65, 70 minutes. And if that's the case, then he's fine against Leeds, right? Last I read, there is a chance Liverpool versus Everton is postponed. I can't see it. Let me have a look now. Looking at the weather. Liverpool, England. Nah, it's a bit of rain, isn't it? I can show you. Here you go. Here's my iPhone. Liverpool, bit of rain. It's not going to get cancelled for a bit of rain. Goodness me. It's not even that windy. Yeah, look. It will be wet. Do you know what? That reminds me. It was about 2 or 3 years ago. Someone did loads of research into whether Salah plays better in the rain or not. It was brilliant. Like they genuinely did so much research finding out that information. Spoiler alert, I think the answer at that point was actually that Salah does play better in the rain. Which is pretty funny. No, I know that by the way, there has been an amber weather warning in Liverpool. So there has been a weather warning, but it's not anywhere close to cancelling a game. For it to be due to rain, all of like the public transport would have to be shut down due to flooding. Normally, you'd have to pair that with some kind of wind. It would need to be dangerous to the fans or the players, or prevent the fans from travelling. Given that the game is in a few hours, no. The Liverpool game will go ahead. Absolutely fine. Bruno, Haaland, or Watkins cap? Probably Haaland, then Watkins, then Bruno. I don't think I'd captain Bruno this week, personally. Play one of Goodmanson, Esteve, or Reinders. Probably Goodmanson, then Esteve. Esteve versus Reinders is tough. I'm actually having that same debate myself of which order to put them in on my bench. I'd probably play Goodmanson out of those. Leeds have been low-key a little bit solid defensively, actually, so far. Liam says, bench boost of Dubravka, Reinders, Rodon, Dorgu, or hold off. I'd hold off. Well, that's close. I don't love Dorgu. Well, I do love Dorgu as a player, but I don't love Dorgu as part of a bench boost, personally. I think you could definitely do better. Yeah, I mean, by the way, I have the money to do this. I looked at this. And then bench boost, Guiu to Muniz. Or Foster I could do, by the way. I can bench boost then that. That is bench boostable then at that point. Because my bench is, like I say, it would probably be Richards, Esteve, Dubravka, Reinders. But I just don't know that I want to use a transfer just for the sake of the bench boost. Hi, Ross. Do you think United score versus Chelsea? I do. In fact, let me reframe that. I at least think that Manchester United will create enough chances to score versus Chelsea. Whether or not we actually do or not is a different story. Jason, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, hi, Ross. Thanks for the great content every week. I really enjoy it. I appreciate that. Would you captain João Pedro or Semenyo? Currently on João Pedro, but thinking it's away. Bournemouth are at home, but then Newcastle's defence have looked good. That's a tough one. I think overall, I would probably... Oh, that is a very tough one. Semenyo or João Pedro? I do like the home fixture. Oh, I'd go Semenyo. What are my rankings? Yeah, my rankings. So I've actually got Semenyo. If you look top left corner of the screen, that way, I've got Semenyo and João Pedro next to each other. I would probably back the home fixture. And also, I think Semenyo's looked highly impressive so far, hasn't he? So yeah, I'd probably go that way. Lukey Boy has been a member for almost 3 years. Thank you, my friend. Says, morning, Ross. How are you? I'm good, thank you. Would you start Agbadou or Strand Larsen this week? Thanks for your superb content. I mean, if you're choosing between those two and you've got the bench boost, I'd be tempted to look at the bench boost. But Agbadou or Strand Larsen? I'd risk it on Strand Larsen. I would risk it on Strand Larsen. I think Leeds have a chance of scoring. I know Agbadou will be good for DEFCON. It's tough, but if Strand Larsen starts, you'd much rather have him, of course. So... high risk, high reward, I guess. Yibin NG says, hi Ross, Dubravka, King, Goodmanson, and Anderson, would you bench boost? King's the only slightly suspect one, right? His minutes haven't been fantastic. There's always a chance he doesn't start. I would bench boost it, yes. But it's like bench boosting with King does worry me ever so slightly. Claudette says, sell a knackered Mateta for João Pedro. Not for me. I can understand it, though. The Moon Kitty says, Semenyo will play more often. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, Semenyo will get closer to 90 minutes than João Pedro, you'd imagine. Or at least, prediction-wise, every week, you feel more confident in Semenyo's minutes. Early kickoff captaincy, is that a risk you take today? Early kickoff captaincy means nothing. It means nothing. The only thing it does mean is, like, enjoyment of the FPL weekend. Like, if Salah blanks, then it's a long weekend. Especially, like, if Salah inverts both blank today, it's a long weekend ahead. Because that's not my game week over, but that's my captain done for. An expensive player that I've held when other people have sold for Semenyo done for. Like, there is a lot riding on the first game for me, absolutely. But that's only a psychological thing. I don't believe in any early kickoff curse or anything like that. Trina says, hi Raptor, got one more question. Anytime. I have Salah, Kudus, Semenyo, Wirtz, Reinders, Wood, Guiu, Fulkrug, Wan-Bissaka, Porro, Milenkovic, Anderson, Gay, Dubravka, Sanchez. Should I wildcard next week or wait? Okay. So you got some nice picks in there. I certainly think you could wildcard that team. Yeah, Trina. I do think you could wildcard that team. On the flip side, you've got 0 free transfer, so it would be a hit. I would lean towards wildcarding that team, because what I was thinking is, if you sold Wood and Salah, you could go and get Haaland and Njai, and the team looks great. But then you've still got Wan-Bissaka, Füllkrug, who aren't perfect. That would take a -4 hit to do that. You're still then sat there with Wirtz in your team. So I think it's probably leaning closer to a wild card than not. But let's see how your team get on this weekend. If some of these players that I've just mentioned there look really good, then maybe you keep it. Like Chris Wood gets 90 minutes or something, then you feel pretty comfortable actually in keeping him next week, for example. Equally, if Füllkrug starts and looks fantastic, maybe he becomes an actual genuine budget option. So yeah, I would lean towards wildcard, but I don't think it's essential that you wildcard. Bramjot says, hello Ross, hello, rolling into 5 free transfers. You are doing what we all hoped we could do. Wildcard will use the free transfers next week to bring in Haaland, Gabriel, Raya, Semenyo. 6 million rank. You're better than I am, and you've got 5 free transfers. It's a good position. I would... Yeah, in terms of starting Tosin or Porro, by the way, if you're feeling Tosin, go for it. I don't think either of them are fantastic this week. Would I wildcard? That's a really good question. So you've got 5 free transfers. You could just use them. I would probably wildcard and keep the 5 free transfers. Yeah, I would. I think if you're looking at making 4 transfers, I would just wildcard, and then because then coming out the backside of the wildcard, that sounds a bit sus. You will have 5 free transfers. So yeah, I'd lean the wildcard actually. Isak on wildcard or Evan Ilson upgrade the defenders. I think it's slightly too early to go Isak. But my issue with what you've just said there, Sim, is if you're going for Evan Nilsson and spreading the money, you then don't have a route back to Isak. So I would offer you a third option, which is go for someone like Evan Nilsson, but don't spread the money in multiple positions. Put it into one position, or even you could keep it in the bank. Because I do think at some point across the next few weeks, Isak will creep into our thinking. And that's one of my other reasons for wanting to maybe delay the wild card, is that I could just see Isak becoming a monstrous option. And then all of a sudden, those that wildcard without Isak and don't have a price point to get him will struggle. Masteris says, hi Ross, triple Arsenal and Haaland, is it worth a free hit? No. That in and of itself isn't. Arsenal are a great team. Haaland's the best player in FPL at the moment. They could inevitably all get points, or they could you get points from a couple of them. But no, that wouldn't be enough to free hit. If the rest of your team also doesn't look great, then maybe. Maybe. The Moon Kitty says, I'm going rogue because why not? Just wildcarded this week. I feel it could be fun, but it's so confusing because I can't make a team I like. Like, I can't decide between a strong midfield versus a strong attack. I get that. I do. And this is the thing that's putting me off a wildcard across the next 2 weeks, is that I feel the same as you, where I'm like, I built a wildcard where I had like Isak, Gyökeres and Haaland. And then I built a wildcard where it was actually like it was Haaland, João Pedro and Guiu, so that I could squeeze Palmer in. I think generally right now, the Moon Kitty, I think the forwards and the attack is where more of the money should be spent. Because I think Haaland makes a lot of sense. Gyökeres and Isak look great. I still think Watkins will be an FPL option. And then you've got the likes of Mateta and João Pedro at that sort of 7.5 to 8 million price point. So I think slightly weaker midfield makes more sense at the moment. But that could easily flip on its head, as we know. Pep says, sell Murillo for Van Dijk and bench boost with 1 goalkeeper and 1 centre-back from Burnley, King and Juve. But get either KDH or a Dinger and keep Murillo. So B, get either KDH or a Dinger and keep Murillo. Just get Van Dijk and no bench boost. I don't love making transfers for the sake of a bench boost, mate. So I would lean towards probably getting Van Dijk and no bench boost, just. Start Juve or Dewsbury Hall? Dewsbury Hall, probably, just about. Who is the best person to upgrade Guiu for the bench boost up to 6.2 million? Probably Thiago. Thiago or Muniz would be the two, but neither of them excite me that much. But yeah, probably Thiago. I understand in your position wanting to do it because that bench does look pretty good. So yeah, feel free to go for it in that case. Rowan says, bench boost. Dubravka versus Reinildo, Tarkowski, Murillo start. So you're bench boosting with Murillo. That is a little worrying, but I do like the bench that you have. Like, if Wirtz is genuine on your bench, then yes, I like that as a bench boost. Reinildo's not terrible. Tarkowski will get DEFCON, absolutely. If Murillo doesn't start, though, then I don't love that bench boost. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I would say go for it, but you run a risk, of course. Yazito says, hi Ross, when comparing players for each position, what stats do you focus on? I'm building a web app that can visualize and compare FPL player data. Good luck with building your web app. I'm mainly focusing on expected data is the main thing I'll look at. So XG, XA, non-penalty expected goal involvement would be good. As like one metric, NP, XGI would be nice. Touches and shots in the box is always nice as well. DEFCON, of course, you need defensive contributions now as well. Lauren says, hi Ross, I have 2 free transfers and used my free hit. Okay. I have 4 Arsenal and not sure if I should... Oh, so you've already used it. Sorry, I was thinking you've used it for this week. You've already used it. I have 4 Arsenal. You have 4 Arsenal. How'd you have 4 Arsenal? And not sure if I should swap. Rank 780k. We'll put my team below. Can you... Yeah, you can... You could comment it, attach it as a comment or a reply to your original one. Okay. I've got your team. Don't worry, Lauren. I've found your team. My team is Raya, Saliba, Williams, Van der Ven, Konsa, Palmer, Anderson, Eze, Salah, Semenyo, Gyökeres. I suppose you put Eze in when he was a Palace player. Bench is Kelleher, Pirro, Esteve, and Strand Larsen. Okay, what should you do with a team? The thing is, I like all of those Arsenal assets. But you can't... You're going to need to make a transfer at some point. In all honesty, though, Lauren, that's a great team. I wouldn't use a transfer there. No, I wouldn't use a transfer there. You've had a great start to the season as well inside the top 1 million. I'd leave it. Just keep rolling until you... There will be a point when you have to use a transfer and then you'll have to sell one of your Arsenal players. But at that point, you can make a more informed decision about which one to sell. That's a funny position to be in, though. Matuata says, hi, Rosso. Watkins, Fulkrug, Salah, Palmer, Wirtz, Bruno, Reinders, Porro, Nico, Richards, Juve, Sanchez, and cheap bench. Use 4 free transfers or wait and wildcard next week. Don't love that you're starting Fulkrug. I'd be tempted to use a couple of transfers this week, or I don't know, like Fulkrug in your starting 11 stinks. It does. Although I say that, I bet Fulkrug now wipes out my double Crystal Palace clean sheet. Maybe you can get away with leaving him. As I said to whoever asked previously, if you've got like 4 to 5 free transfers, I kind of do like the idea of wildcarding and then having the transfers to deal with stuff after the wildcard. It's such a strong position to be in. To use a wildcard chip and to still be able to change basically most of your starting 11. It's good. Bench boost of Dubravka, Esteve, Anderson, and Goodmanson. Yes, that is absolutely a bench boost, Ray. I would 100% play. The Scan Legend says bench boost of Dubravka, Van der Ven, Esteve, and Reinders. I think that's borderline, but I would still do it personally. Chris says, good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Good morning, Chris. Can't decide whether to start Esteve or Strand Larsen. I'd start Strand Larsen. It's worth the risk. For what it's worth, I don't know if Strand Larsen will start, but I think it is worth the risk, for sure. Ross, can you talk us through a free hit draft? Not overly, no, because the fixtures stink this week. Like, who are you buying on a free hit? I think you're just targeting good players. Like, put in Semenyo, put in Salah, put in Cole Palmer, João Pedro, maybe a Mateta or a Watkins. But, like, even the clean sheets, like, who are you backing confidently for a clean sheet this week? In my predictions, what have I got? I've got Forest keeping a clean sheet, Fulham, and then Villa. But do you want to, like, that still feels like that stinks. A defense of, like, Konsa, Anderson, and Williams or something. Like, that doesn't feel like... This is why I don't love free hit this week, because it doesn't feel great. Caicedo, yeah, I like Caicedo. I think long-term as well, Caicedo is going to be great. Mr. Harry Pinero in the chat, good to see you, my friend. Says, wrapped up. Absolutely smashing me this season, Harry. Who isn't? I mean, when you're ranked 7 million, who isn't doing better than you know? Nicholas says, bench boost of Dubravka, Esteve, Kudus, and Tosin, Watkins cap. Yeah, I like the bench boost there. And do you know what? I don't mind Watkins captaincy. People will hate it. They get very triggered when you talk about Ollie Watkins and Bruno Fernandes. Oh, if you say in one sentence, I like Fernandes and Watkins, the amount of people that triggers, but I actually think Watkins is good. Start 2 of Porro, Strand Larsen, Mario, Juve. I'd go Strand Larsen and Mario. Both big risks, but both potentially worth it.
Hello.
You okay?
Yeah, I've been told I have a toxic relationship with Villa assets.
I thought you were going to say with me. I was like, I don't think we do.
No.
Yeah, you do. You're starting Konsa, Rodgers, and Watkins once again. It's like Stockholm syndrome. It's like, it's like
Sunderland, though.
yeah, but
My options are full Krug, so you know. It's what it
I
is.
said I bet Fulkrug wipes out my double Palace defense.
Oh, you know what? He probably will. I do wonder whether I should just start him, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway, morning, guys. See you later.
Yeah, bye. Munoz cap, other options: Haaland, Mateta, Ekatike, Semenyo. I think, in all honesty, I think I prefer all of those options to Munoz personally. As much as I'd like Munoz to go big Daniel, I think I prefer those other options. Foden cap. Foden's been playing very well. Foden's been playing very well. You're like, when Foden's on it, Foden is on it, you know? Cheeky pickle cameo. We do love to see it. We do love to see it. By the way, guys, these streams are sponsored by Club. And you guys would have seen me talk about Club a lot before, but it's basically a free-to-play fantasy football game. Everyone that plays Club loves it. This is my team for this week, and I also have Villa assets in here. I've got Watkins and Rodgers, but I think generally the team looks pretty stacked this week. The only position I don't love is maybe I'd like to start someone else instead of Njaya this week in my team. But if you do want to check out Club, so many people are playing it now. There's a link down below to join, and then there's also a code to my league. But what we do in these streams is we meet with Manny, and Manny basically will get you any player in the Premier League, and that's how you upgrade your team. So all I need you to do in the chat is guess which player Manny will get us. And this can be any player in the Premier League. It's basically like opening a pack in FIFA. So which player do you think Manny will get? Guess in the chat, and we'll see if anyone gets it right. My guess is, I'm going to say, who do I think? I'm going to say, of course, someone says Dorgu straight off the bat. Sims, outrageous. I'm going to say Mateus de Ligt. I got Palmer in Club last night. That's outrageous. I've never pulled a star before. Yesterday, oh, I missed that. Yesterday, my girlfriend pulled Rice and Donnarumma back to back. That's funny. Right, let's do it. Meet now. Tap to reveal. Okay, base. Core. Defender. It stinks. It stinks. 77. Hill. I mean, that couldn't be any worse. Reeks. I am over my salary cap, by the way, but all it means is that I can't play Fernandes this week, which isn't the end of the world. So I'm not going to worry about the fact that I'm over my salary cap, personally. But yeah, your boy's even in the game, by the way. There I am. Not the best picture of me, I'll admit. But yeah, if you want to check out Club, there'll be a link down below to download. Make sure to join my league as well. And yeah, nice to see so many people playing it as well. Right, let's get back to answering your FPL questions. I don't think anyone got it, by the way. Did anyone guess Hill? I like that people guessed Hill after Hill pops up. What is this game? It's Club. It's basically a fantasy football mobile game. There's a link down below if you want to check it out. It's completely free to play, by the way. Any Thiago update, Ross? I think he's fine, as far as I'm aware. Good morning, Ross. Team in comment. Ekatike issues. What comment? I don't think you can add a comment to that super chat. I can't now find your message, Jacob. Sorry. I do apologise. Your message has been lost. Polkit says, hi, Ross. Team of Sanchez, Nico, Rodon, Lacroix, Mo, Verts, Palmer, Cap, Bruno, Reinders, Pedro Wood, and then a bench of Dubravka, Van de Ven, Dorgu, Giu. 2 free transfers. Tips, play chip. I wouldn't play a chip this week, Polkit, because I think you'd need to make a couple of transfers to make that bench boostable. I also don't think I would make a transfer. I think your starting 11 looks really good. I like the Palmer cap. You've got Salah in there. Yeah, I think roll the transfer, no chip, and then I think next week you can look at playing a chip instead, Pocket. Izzy says, what do you think, my precious quirky orc? I love the nicknames every week. Wolves keep KP? Wolves keep? Is that Wolves keeper? Agbadu, Munoz, Van Dijk, Semenyo, Salah, Pino, Palmer, Rodgers, Watkins, Mateta. Any ideas? Dorgu? We're not starting the Dorgu stuff again. I think that's a nice team. Again, that's a simple roll to me. I think unless there is like a standout issue in your team, most teams I'll look at this week and I'll probably say just roll it. Just roll it. Because I think going into 6, you'll probably want to pivot to Haaland, a lot of people. And or there is other fixtures to target. Semenyo's got Leeds. Everton have West Ham at home. Even Arsenal, I know they have Newcastle, but then they go into a nice run after that. Transfers are king at the moment, right? You really want to try and hold on to your transfers and not just use them for the sake of it. 8 Nuri and Burmo to Van Dijk and Semenyo, 2 frees. What are your thoughts? I really like Brian Burmo. Not just as a Man United fan. Like Brian Burmo is the second best XGI so far this season, non-penalty in the Premier League. Only Haaland has had more. So I actually think Burmo is an excellent FPL option at the moment. I'd maybe just do 8 Nuri to Van Dijk, personally. Whose mood is affected most after a bad game week? You versus Pickle. I would say probably both quite bad. Probably both quite bad. Ashley says, good morning, Ross and Pickle. Hope you're feeling good today. I'm feeling good, thank you. Should I hold this week as it would set me up to do Verts to Rice and Gyökeres to Haaland next week? You can't sell to Arsenal, though. This is my issue with that. So I think you need to find another way to get Haaland. I don't love selling Gyökeres and Rice. Because from 7 onwards, I would want 3 Arsenal, and you've just sold 2 of them. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about that one at all. You won't get past 30 points. That would be pretty disastrous if I don't get past 30 points. Hi, Ross. Palmer being quoted as okay doesn't give me great confidence, but would you do Verts to Palmer? If you can do Verts to Palmer for 1 transfer for free, I'd be very tempted, yeah. What is your day job, Rostafar? So I've just finished my lecturing role. I was a lecturer for 5 years alongside my PhD. I've got about 6 months left of my PhD, so that's my full-time thing. And then once I've done my PhD, that is it. This will be my full-time job. So I'm probably about 6 months off from this being my full-time job. I just need to finish my PhD first. 2 free transfers. Salah and Watkins out for Foden and Haaland game week 7. In game week 7, yes. I don't mind that. No, 6 do you mean? I assume you mean that in 6. In fact, I don't like it in 7. In game week 6, it's not terrible, yeah? Looking after my sister's yappy rat dog, the screech is almost reverse puberty. Are we cat people or dog people in the chat? We prefer cats or dogs? Cats or dogs. Jake says, this is great. Jake says, me and my fiance have started a game of Raptor Bingo. Every stream you can guarantee you mention Pickle, Club, your PhD, your book, your 7 million rank, Jean-Philippe Mateta. I have to use his full name as well. FPL Therapy and Azpilicueta. Wait, why is Azpilicueta in there? Or is that now? I guess now I have mentioned Azpilicueta. I don't think I've ever mentioned Azpilicueta in my life. What else would be on Raptor Bingo, chat? What else would be on Raptor Bingo? I love that. My mum's such a cat person. The first thing my mum says in the chat today is just cats. What else? Dorgu. Yeah, Dorgu would have to be on Raptor Bingo. What else? Sorry, my camera died. Yeah, I respect it. The will. The egg. Eye test, yeah. Talking about your other hats. Stormzy. Yeah, there's always a shout out to Stormzy in the live stream. That's true. If anyone wants to play Raptor Bingo at home, you do so. That'll make it fun. I would say take a shot every time I mention something, but I don't want to condone that too much. Munoz, Calafiori, Richard, Senesi, bench 1. Wow. Bench boost. Honestly, I'd be... No, I wouldn't actually, would I? Senesi probably out of those options. Dennis says, weekly dono for my homie. Thank you very much, Dennis. I appreciate it. Ryan Munoz, Porro, Gay, Kukureya, Semenyo, Gakpo, Kudus, Gyökeres, Haaland, Pedro. Bench of Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Goodmanson, Reinders. Free hit because of hard matchups or roll. I would bench boost that team, Dennis. So yeah, I certainly would roll. I would be very tempted by a bench boost. Dewsbury Hall, Goodmanson, Reinders, Dubravka. Yeah, I'd bench boost that, I think. Honestly. Raptor Bingo, all of that to say. Yeah, I do say it. All of that to say. Yeah, talking about what takeaway I would eat. Yeah. All this is telling me is that I'm very predictable. I'm not sure how I feel about being predictable. It's not a bad move in and of itself. I don't know why I say that. You very frequently apologise for noise in the background. This is true. Guys, can you stop exposing me like this? Do you know what? I don't want to hear about all of this now. I feel exposed. Raptor bingo, I don't hate that. If you took a shot every time I said, I don't hate that, then you would be hammered inside 10 minutes. Oh, goodness me. Stop exposing me like that. Right, next question. I'm going to run a poll. New poll. So, by the way, I ran that captaincy poll. We have Salah captained by 64% of people. Palmer/João Pedro 13, other 13, and Haaland 10. So, definitely the most popular captain is Salah. What uni do you lecture at? I'm done with my lecturing now, but I lectured at Nottingham Trent University for 5 years. I'm doing one more lecture in a few weeks, but other than that, I'm done. Right. Who would you start? So I'm running a poll chat. Who would you start? Not who would you bench. Important distinction. Sanchez or Dubravka? I can't wait for this poll to be 50-50. We know it's going to be 50-50 already. Start Wirtz or Anderson away to Burnley? Honestly, Anderson out of those two. Dennis said, you just wanted another dono, smart man, PhD and all. Never. Bench boost, even though Haaland and Reinders have Arsenal, Gyökeres, City, Pedro United, Dewsbury, Liverpool. Why bench boost? Give me the secret. Well, ignore all of that, because you have to start most of those players, Dennis. Your bench at the moment is Dubravka, who has an okay chance for a clean sheet, Goodmanson, who has an okay chance, and then Dewsbury, Hall and Reinders are both just decent assets that could nick you something. I'm not saying it's definitely a bench boost, I'm just saying I would probably bench boost it personally. Andrew said, no advice needed rolling this week, just buying you a beer. Have a good game week, up the tune. I can't believe I've just read out up the tune, but thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Very, very kind. Sumac says, bench boost this week with Dubravka, Reinders, Van de Ven, Senesi. Pretty good, yeah. Is it crazy to consider free hit 7 to get United, Villa, and triple Arsenal? To get United, Villa, and triple Arsenal versus West Ham and ship Gyökeres? Skip Gyökeres? So why would you skip Gyökeres, but you want triple Arsenal? Anyway, your question is it crazy? At the moment, yes, because why would you want 3 United and 3 Villa? If in game week 5 and game week 6, Villa and United suddenly look a lot better, then no. I don't think I would decide that right now. But yeah, bench boost this week, good. It's an option, but we need to see more from Villa and Man United. Review Maker says, 1 free transfer and bench boost and triple captain left. Okay, I've got your team. What are your thoughts? So your bench at the moment is Dubravka, Rodon, Reinildo, Grealish. I mean, that is bench boostable again, and your starting 11 all looks pretty nailed on. Yeah, I mean, Wood could be benched, but you'd imagine he gets some minutes. I would be tempted to bench boost that. I don't think that one is as clear-cut, though. I think you could definitely skip the bench boost, but I would be semi-tempted. I absolutely wouldn't be making a transfer this week, though. You don't need it. Villa says, hi, Ross. Currently 4-3-3. Who would you replace Alanga with? Can't get to Semenyo, to bench Van de Ven for a 3-4-3 or leave 2 Spurs defenders playing. I mean, I would still be tempted to start Alanga, but if you just don't think he starts at all, then yeah, I would probably just leave it. There aren't any players this week that I think are that clear-cut, so I would probably just pay the 4-3-3 and just roll the transfer. Darren says, instead of King on wildcard, Dewsbury Hall or Zubimendi. If you can afford Dewsbury Hall over King, I would prefer that. I'm still not fully there with Zubimendi. He obviously was fantastic in game week 4, but I need to see more from him on a consistent basis. From an FPL perspective, of course. Felipe says, hey Ross, bench headache here. Pickford or Dubravka? I'd start Dubravka there. Then bench 1 between Richards, Van de Ven, Kudus, Dewsbury Hall or Stev. I'd probably bench a Stev. So I would start Dubravka and I would bench a Stev. At least then you're also covering the possibility of a Burnley clean sheet as well. 0 in the bank. 8 Nuri to Frimpong/Kirkes. Munoz, double Forest. I would go Van Dijk if you can. I prefer Van Dijk Van Dijk or Gabriel would be my favourite 2 premium defenders. Obviously, this isn't really the week to do that. But yeah, Van Dijk and Gabriel are my 2 favourites. Probably Van Dijk then if you're moving this week. Why not start Reinders over one of the defenders? Williams maybe. It's Arsenal away. It's not a great fixture. In fact, I'm even semi-tempted to just stick Reinders' second sub. Like, and put a Stev ahead of him. Not that I have an issue starting Reinders this week, but like in an ideal world, you won't start Reinders against Arsenal. I do still see Reinders being kind of a bit of a big game player, though. I could imagine him stepping up in a game like this. So yeah, I don't hate it. There you go. I don't hate it, bingo. I just said it again. I have Haaland, Gyökeres, and Pedro in my team. Brilliant. Should I captain one of those or take a risk with Gakpo? I actually don't mind Gakpo captaincy. I still think I will just slap it on Haaland, even though he's playing the best defence in the league, because it's Haaland. But yeah, I think Gakpo's certainly worth consideration. If you feel Gakpo, I certainly don't dislike that overall. JM says, hey bud, which 3 to start and why please Cunha? Why please Cunha? Oh, and why please? Full stop. Cunha, Brennan Johnson, Estev, Reinders, Van der Ven, Nico Williams. Thanks as always. You are more than welcome, Jay. Which 3 to start? I'd risk it on Cunha because he's an absolute baller. I would start Williams. Cunha, Williams, and Van der Ven. Yeah, Cunha, Williams, and Van der Ven. Timbo Slices. Everyone is wildcard 6 or free hit 6, but I don't think my team needs it. I am now leaning towards not playing a chip, a free hit or wildcard in 6. Your team is Salesman, Yoz, Murillo, Porro, Salah, Gakpo, Rogers, Paquetá, Watkins, Pedro, Wood. Yeah, you won't need it, Timbo. I'll actually show you to sort of confirm what you're thinking. This is my team in game week 6. If I make 2 free transfers to bring in Semenyo and Haaland. So I'd have Sanchez against Brighton at home, Pedro Porro against Wolves at home, Williams against Sunderland at home. Munoz, not a great fixture, but it's Munoz. The midfield 5 then is Semenyo, Fernandes, Reinders, Kudus, Wirtz, all with decent enough fixtures. And then Watkins and Haaland as the front 2. I equally think I don't need a wildcard or a free hit in 6. That being said, I'm also sat there with Watkins against Fulham, and Watkins hasn't been great. I've got Wirtz against Crystal Palace, and if he blanks once again and looks rubbish, that's not great. And I do have a defender against Liverpool. So would my team look better on a free hit? 100%. Or on even on a wild card, potentially. But I also don't feel like I need it desperately. But then I am using 2 transfers to go and get Haaland in. And I assume you'll be doing something similar. I am not for captaining Haaland since I'm an Arsenal fan. That is fair enough. I would go Gakpo, my friend. I'd go Gakpo then. So you've got just over an hour till the deadline. Plenty of time to make your decisions. Oh, that was my back. Apologies. 8 Nuri is 5.9 million. Or if you can't afford Van Dijk, then I would go for Munoz. Thoughts on which 3 to start out of Timber? Actually, Tarkowski in the long term might be better than Munoz. But anyway, not this week. I've lost where I was. There I am. Thoughts on which 3 to start out of Timber, Senesi, Gay, Tarkowski, Van der Ven? Oh, that's tough. I would start probably Timber, Gay, and one of Van der Ven or Senesi. I like Tarkowski because he'll get DEFCON, but I just don't see them keeping a clean sheet. So probably Timber, Gay, and Van der Ven. Although Senesi and Tarkowski are your 2 best chances for DEFCON. Maybe Senesi ahead of Van der Ven, Dill. That's a close one. Yeah, Tarkowski will probably get 3 points here, at least. Sniper Hunter 20 says, hi Ross, I have 1 transfer. Plan to bring in Semenyo and transfer either Wirtz or Bruno. Any thoughts? I would personally just not use a transfer this week. Like, Semenyo's got Newcastle. He could absolutely do really well, but so could Bruno or Wirtz. I think that transfer looks much better in game week 6. So I wouldn't make the move. But equally, like, FPL Pickle is a fantastic manager. She sold Wirtz for Semenyo. So it's absolutely a viable transfer. I just don't see it myself this week. Start Calafiori or Senesi. I'd probably start the Arsenal boys. Yeah, I'd probably start the Arsenal boys. Because I think both concede, but Arsenal are just so elite that, again, if they didn't concede, it wouldn't be a huge shock. Keep me updated on early team news for Gakpo captain. Yeah, if I hear anything on Liverpool, I will let you know, for sure. I've not seen anything yet. I sold Verts for Brennan Johnson 2 weeks ago, 100% regret it. I mean, selling Verts probably wasn't the regret, but yeah, Brennan Johnson probably wasn't it. Morning, Ross. Just wanted to say how much I love FPL therapy. Prefer the longer kids? I wanted that as a type before. And discussion. Am I insane for taking a -4 for De Cowper and Rogers / Verts to Anderson and Javi Simmons? Yeah, not crazy. I don't love taking a hit, though, to sell Rogers against Sunderland or Verts against Everton. So, yes, I probably wouldn't do that this week. Not for me. Especially considering Javi Simmons doesn't have a great fixture either. Oh, vids. Vids rather than kids. I get it. I was like, wonder what longer kids is meant to mean. Jishnu Sen has just gifted a very generous super chat, but with no message. What you can do, Jishnu, is reply with a comment, and I'll see that. Okay, you have. That makes sense. Right, I'll look at that now. So, you've said, here's my terrible team. 3 Forest, Murillo, Wood, Anderson. 3 Liverpool, Salah, Virgil, Verts. Porro, Richards, Rodon, Paquetá, Reinders, Watkins, João Pedro. Here's your terrible team. The team looks great. Triple Forest against Burnley. Salah, Van Dijk, Verts, Porro, Richards, Rodon, Paquetá, Reinders, Watkins, João Pedro. That's great. What am I missing? Don't need a wild card. I mean, next week you could absolutely look to wild card that, but then you've got Triple Forest against Sunderland. I think you're probably looking at a game week 7 or game week 8 wild card, Jishnu. I would not wild card that. That's not a bad team. Unless I'm missing something there. Captain, Watkins, Wood, Haaland, Gakpo, Semenyo. Any of the above. I'd be very tempted by Watkins, but I think if not, Haaland's always a safe bet. Gakpo and Semenyo with home fixtures. I think all of those are viable options. I would be very tempted by Watkins there, but again, I don't want to trigger too many people. Porro / Anderson and Nico Williams, Richards or Estev. What, you need to bench 2 of them? I would bench Estev and maybe Porro or Richards. Nico Williams and Anderson I would start. And then I'd maybe start one of the other ones. What to do for game week 6 considering I'm on wildcard 8? Salah, Watkins, Sanchez to Palmer, Haaland, Vicario for -4, or Salah, Watkins to Semenyo, Haaland for free. Salah, Watkins, Sanchez to Palmer, Haaland. Ooh. Wait, what? I'm confused. Salah, Watkins, Sanchez. Oh, I suppose you're freeing up the 3rd Chelsea spot. Is that why you have to sell Sanchez? I was trying to work out, Mohammed, why you were selling Sanchez as part of it. So is it worth taking a -4 to basically get Palmer instead of Semenyo? Probably not. I do like the idea of getting Palmer, though. Let's assess what happens. If Spurs look really good defensively again, maybe if Chelsea look a little bit suspect defensively, I could certainly see that being worth it, yeah. Timbo Sly says, higher upside play. Use 2 free transfers on Salah and Watkins to Semenyo, Haaland in 6, or wait until 7 to use 3 free transfers on Murillo, Gakpo, Wood to Gabriel, Dewsbury Hall, Gyökeres. I think you want Haaland in 6. I would say use him in 6. You can always take a hit in game week 7, can't you? I like at least that you're thinking about it, Timbo Slice, that it's not necessarily just go and get Haaland, but I just would not feel comfortable going to game week 6 without Haaland. Scuba Steve says, hello Raptor, joining the stream a little late. No worries at all. I'm sure you've already answered, but thoughts on Bruno to Semenyo this week? It does seem a little sideways for me, though. Have a great game week. Have a great game week as well. This week, I would prefer to have Semenyo to Bruno. Next week, I think it's quite close. And then in 7, obviously, I'd much rather Bruno. Would I sell Bruno to Semenyo this week? No. Do I think it's a bad move? Also no. It's one of those where, like, if you've never been a fan of Bruno Fernandes, you don't know why you own him in the first place, you think he's playing too deep, I would just sell Bruno Fernandes to Semenyo, yeah. If you, like me, though, think that he's actually not as bad of an asset as people suggest, then I would just keep. Do you still have faith in Watkins? Not much, no. Not much. I've got faith, though, that Villa will start scoring goals soon. And Watkins is usually the one that gets them. So I suppose I have a small amount of optimism. But again, would I be surprised if Sunderland keep Villa down to 1 goal? Or 2 goals, no. And it's not a guarantee that Watkins is the one that scores them. But yeah. Let's say I have 10 to 15% faith in Ollie Watkins. Peppy says, good morning, Ross. My team for Game Week 6 looks amazing, just missing Haaland. Am I crazy if I'm not looking to get him in? No. Here's the thing. Let's say that Haaland gets 13 points in Game Week 6, but Salah gets you a goal or an assist and gets like 8. It probably wasn't worth the 2 free transfers to go and get Haaland. What you need is Haaland to outscore Salah by like 10 plus points, really, to make it worth it. And could Haaland go and get a 6 or a 9? If I told you that City beat Burnley 3-0 in Game Week 6 and Haaland gets a goal, would you be like, oh my God, that really surprises me that Haaland only scored? No, you'd say, oh yeah, he scored a goal. And if it is 2-3-0, and maybe the defenders get some defensive contributions, you could see a world where he doesn't get bonus. So I could see Haaland getting 6 to 9 points in Game Week 6, absolutely. It wouldn't hugely surprise me. I'll still probably triple captain him if I don't play the wild card, though. Bench 1 of Kudus, Elliott, and Doy. That's a tough one. Can't bench Ndoye. I'd probably bench Elliott just because there's a chance that Elliott doesn't start. Whereas the other two, you would imagine they do start. Alex says, I have 2 free transfers and I'm thinking of selling Murillo for Senesi. I could then bench boost Estev, KDH, Dubravka and Van der Ven. The issue is, I just think if Murillo starts for the next 2 games, he's fantastic. But yes, it is a risk. I would be tempted to just bench boost it and hope that Murillo starts. But yeah, Murillo to Senesi, Alex, does give you like a confirmed starter at least. So maybe it's worth it. Adnan says, my team is Sanchez, Dubravka, Munoz. Okay, I've got your team, Adnan. Should I bench boost? Worried about Murillo. Okay, so we've got another question. What would you do, chat? If you had Murillo, would you just bench boost and hope? Would you sell him? Would you just completely cancel the bench boost just because of Murillo? It could be enough to put you off, I suppose. The thing is with your team, I suppose, you'd also be bench boosting with Dorgu. You've got Wood, whose minutes might be a little bit reduced, but that is a good bench boost team. It is. That might put me off, Adnan, because you're also bench boosting Dorgu. I just think he's guaranteed to concede. And he's not good for DEFCON either. Willivit Sound says, hello, Ross and Pickle. Hello, Will. Start Mateta or Senesi. Love as always. Big love to you. I'd have to start Mateta there. Even if Mateta only gets 60 mins, I'd rather him than Senesi this week. MJM says, good morning, Ross. I hope you're well. I am well, thank you. Will this finally be the week I get a Damsgaard return? I can't believe he was off sick last game. I know. When I saw that, I was like, I remembered the super chat. I have to roll this week if I want Haaland next. Yeah, fingers crossed for you. It's certainly a decent fixture. You can hope. If Damsgaard does return, I'll be cheering for you. Do we have any Liverpool leaks yet? We're not guaranteed to get Liverpool leaks, and if we do, it won't be for another half an hour or so, I'd imagine. By the way, if you are enjoying the stream, please do consider dropping a like. I really appreciate it. And if you're not yet subscribed, we are not far off from 169,000. Yeah, we're less than 250 away. So if you're not yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Subscribing. Turn on slow mode. I have slow mode on. This is with slow mode. I think I've only got like a 10 seconds or 5 second slow mode though, but I don't want to prevent people from sending messages for like a minute at a time. So this is slow mode, but it could be a slower slow mode. Which one should I get out of Eva Nilsson and Walter Marde? Walter Marde might have a higher ceiling, but I think Evan Nilsson will be more consistent, especially in terms of minutes as well. So probably Evan Nilsson. Would you still be against Ekatike, keep Verts? No, I think Ekatike will start this game, I'd imagine. But I think this will be the final game that Ekatike starts, or at least I'm fairly confident he starts. That being said, like Isak could start this, but I would feel comfortable having Ekatike this week. But beyond that, I'm not sure. So one more week with Ekatike, I think you've basically got. 2E97 says, help, wildcard. Sanchez, Dubravka, Estev, Anderson. Are you asking if you should wildcard this? Bruno, Salah, Bruno, Johnson, Watkins, Richarlison. Yeah, I would. Sorry, I would. I mean, you've got Dorgu in there, not great. You've got Brennan Johnson and Richarlison. I mean, actually, you don't need a bench boost. Sorry, you don't need a wildcard there. Okay, it doesn't really help you. Would I wildcard it? Potentially. You could probably do with one, but I equally think you could get away with it. I don't know if that helps at all. Sorry. Would you still be... I read that one. Thor, the regular update. I cheated playing my wildcard and opening up the gap again to 39 points after an 84-65 game week score in the feud. Yeah, that is cheating. You're not allowed to play a wildcard. That just means you played your wildcard well, in all fairness. The Moon Kitty says, okay, I think I've finalised on my wildcard team for this week and think I'm happy. Wouldn't mind your thoughts on my team, though. Sure, send it across. I'm stupidly planning to do my whole season without Mo and Haaland to prove a point. Oh dear, it's probably not going fantastically so far. Who's the captain this week? Ekatike, João Pedro, Wood, Gakpo or Semenyo? I think Gakpo, Semenyo, João Pedro, I mean, they're all good, actually. They're all fantastic. Maybe Gakpo is more of a consideration than I first thought, like upon reflection. I mean, based on form, he's got a home fixture. Maybe just go Semenyo. I hope he blanks finally. Dear Lord, he's absolutely battering me at the moment, Semenyo. Hopefully this is the week he blanks. But yeah, based on how he's playing, he probably won't. Nice top. Thanks. It's was it 2 seasons ago, this one? It's a bit small now. I bought it when I was not as fat and not as muscly. I've put on quite a bit of fat and muscle, mainly fat, since I bought this. When I bought it, it was baggy, and now like you can see it's like cutting in at the armpits. I wouldn't be able to wear this out the house because it looks too small, but I can just about get away with it for a live stream. Remember what you said about the Gakpo assist, Ross? Lucky. Yeah, but he's playing for Liverpool in getting good minutes, so I do agree he's been a little bit fortunate thus far. Should I start Minter over Strand Larsen? No, I'd start Strand Larsen. Could Pedro Neto be dropped? I think he showed when he benched Cucurella that anyone can be rotated. But I think Pedro Neto's minutes have been really secure so far, so I doubt it. I did that. Sorry. Bench boost with Murillo or hold. If the other 14 players are all perfect, then I would bench boost. But if there are other doubts that you already had with the bench boost and you've got a Murillo potential doubt, then maybe not. Hey, Ross, if not on bench boost, start Murillo or Porro. I think given Murillo is a centre-back, if you're not on bench boost, I would start Murillo. And if he plays, great. If not, you wouldn't imagine he cameos and you'll just get whoever you had on the bench anyway. So with Murillo, if you're not on bench boost, I'd start him. Hi, Ross. Who do you think is the better partnership, Lacroix and Juve or Richards and Nico Williams? Ooh, that's tough. Probably Richards and Nico Williams. Isn't Murillo a doubt? Yeah, exactly. I think he'll either start or not play. But I'm saying with a centre-back, like, let's say Strand Larsen. Strand Larsen, absolutely, if he doesn't start, will probably be on the bench and get 20 minutes. I don't understand why you would take Murillo, put Murillo on the bench, and bring Murillo on in like the 60th minute. So I think either Murillo will start or he just won't play at all, which obviously doesn't help you massively on a bench boost. I think if you're not bench boosting, you can get away with just starting Murillo. MN Chuckster says, hi, Ross and Pickle. Hello. Would you bench boost Dubravka, Konsa, Dewsbury Hall, and De Cowper? The last one is a slight doubt, but otherwise I feel okay about playing the chip. My rank is even worse than yours, so I hope we both get a green arrow. I think if the rest of your team, again, looks perfect, then maybe you could risk it. You could also use a transfer to take him out. De Cowper to like Anderson of Fulham or something like that. Then that is absolutely a bench boost. Maybe it is worth the risk. Dubravka and Konsa could get cleans. Dewsbury Hall could get you something, if not a couple of points at least. Yeah, maybe the Cowper being a slight risk is still worth going for it. I've not kept perfectly up to date with him, though. So if he's like a major doubt, I wouldn't. But if it sounds like he could play, then go for it. And thank you, as always, for the support. Captain Watkins or Semenyo? I'd go Watkins, personally, if it was my team. Bench Wirtz or Rodgers? Oh, I'd probably bench Wirtz and start Rodgers. I mean, I'm backing Villa quite heavily there, clearly, but I wouldn't want to bench Wirtz or Rodgers. Like, surely there is someone else you can bench instead, Connor. Juho says, okay, I've got your team. 2 free transfers, plan rolling and wildcard game week 6. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't think you need a transfer there at all. Yeah, you don't need a transfer. Especially if you are wildcarding next week, I would just leave it. Yeah, roll the transfer, wildcard next week. Looks great. I have 2 free transfers this week. I've done Gakpo to Semenyo and thinking about Porro to Munoz. What do you think? Love the content and best of luck, everyone. Thank you very much, my friend. What do I think of Porro to Munoz? I don't love that. Do I think Munoz is better than Porro? Yes. Do I think it's worth a transfer considering next week, and I guess you could be free hitting a wild card, but next week Porro's got Wolves at home, Munoz has Liverpool. I would probably just keep Porro. Not, again, I think Munoz is better, but not worth the transfer. I hope that makes sense. Rage LYNSB says, I have 7.1 million to replace Ismail Assar. Who do I go for? I already have Bruno, Anderson, Semenyo, and Reinders. If you are not wildcarding it anytime soon, I would buy Iliman Ndiaye. And I know that sounds weird because he's got Liverpool this week, but I just think he's the best player in and around that price. Otherwise, Xavi Simons, I think, would probably be right up there as well. Or you could drop all the way down to Dewsbury Hall, something like that. I would probably say Ndiaye or Xavi Simons. Ross says captain Verts, Palmer, Pedro, or Watkins. I'd captain Cole Palmer. Thanks, Ross. Feel much better at hearing you agreeing to that. No worries at all. Best of luck. Yeah, Grealish is always a shout. Grealish is always a shout. Hello, Ross. Good morning. Good morning, Ramoya. Ramoya. I'm going to say Ramoya. Let's say it that way. Should I be starting Henderson over Sanchez? Yes, I would. What about Enzo Fernandez? Great pick. Yeah, no issue with Enzo Fernandez. I would be tempted to drop all the way to Caicedo. Caicedo's just been monstrous so far. Just getting at goals, DEFCON, clean sheet points. Question, will Sanchez start? I really sincerely hope Sanchez doesn't start because that would solve my benching headache. I still have the decision to make about whether I start Sanchez or Dubravka. But yeah, if Sanchez doesn't start, that's fantastic news for me. But I would be very surprised if he doesn't, personally. I think Sanchez starts. There has never been a player so locked on to get defensive contribution points as Caicedo. And the reason I say that, most of defenders' defensive contributions, here's a bit of nerdy DEFCON talk for you. Most of defenders' defensive contributions come through clearances. So the reason that Tarkowski gets so many DEFCON points is because Everton sit back a little bit deeper and he clears the ball constantly. Most of midfielders' DEFCON points come through ball recoveries. And ball recoveries are essentially picking up the ball when the opposition lose it. The reason that Caicedo will get DEFCON is because Manchester United's midfield lose the ball about 400 times a game. Bruno's always trying really overcomplicated passes. Ugarte and Casemiro give the ball away for fun. And Sesko's touch doesn't seem to be great. Our wingers just always trying really, really, I say creative stuff or ambitious stuff. Basically, Manchester United lose the ball an obscene amount of time. So Caicedo will get 4 points at least this week. There we go. If you want my prediction for one thing, that is it. Thoughts on my big decision this game week, Enzo or Eze? Eze's better if he's on the pitch, Thor, but I think Enzo's minutes are more secure. So I would probably just about go Enzo. But like I say, I'd also be tempted by Caicedo and just save the money. Luke says Semenyo, Lacroix and Esteve or Enzo, Richards and Milenkovic. Semenyo, Lacroix and Esteve, I think. Hassan says Reinders or Van der Ven for this game week. Ooh, tough one. I would go Van der Ven, probably, just about. I think that is very, very close, Hassan. So if you've got a good feeling about Reinders, you could go Reinders. But if it was me, I'd go Van der Ven. Darius says, hi, Russ, Gavardio or Tarkowski on a wild card? I would go Tarkowski. I think he's going to be just picking up DEFCON every week almost. Connor Delaney says, other options are Gakpo, Bruno, Watkins, JFM. I assume that's JPM, Jean-Philippe Mateta, João Pedro. Gakpo's fine. Is this captaincy, Connor? I forgot what your original message was. Captain Watkins or Semenyo? Oh. Yeah, I think Watkins probably still. Dan says, I have Esteve, Guiu, Reinders and Dubravka on my bench. Who would you swap Guiu for to make a bench boost viable? So I've decided not to do that because I could do the exact same. I would rather just have the free transfers next week. If you are going to, I think it's Muniz. Probably at that price. Maniz at 5.5. Bench boost of Dubravka, King, Rodon, and Estev. You've got a slight risk there, Hugo, with King, but I think I would still be tempted to play that. Hassan says, thank you. Would you buy Moises Caicedo for Reinders with one free transfer? As much as I think right now Caicedo is probably a better pick than Reinders, no. Considering Reinders has Burnley next week, I wouldn't do that. I do have some subtle concerns that if Reinders is going to be rested for a game, it could potentially be Burnley. That's my only slight concern, but I think he should still start, hopefully. Izzy says, my little scallop, the team I sent was my fan team. FT team. I assume that's fan team. I like the fact that you can be so different. Triple Wolves and Villa. Can you see it again? I'm poor now. I'm a bit confused, Izzy, but send some stuff across and maybe provide a bit more context as to what you're saying. Should I bench boost? Sanchez, Richards, Van der Ven, Gabriel, Palmer Cap, Bruno Wirtz, Semenyo Watkins, João Pedro, Mateta, Dubravka, Estev, Mario Reinders. Should you bench boost? Well, Mario's a risk. Outside of that, it's a fantastic team. I would be very tempted, yeah, because I really like the team. But if Mario does miss out, you're bench boosting Reinders and double Burnley defence. Maybe that's too much of a risk for me. Maybe I wouldn't do it, actually. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably leave it as is. Unfortunately. All right, how long we got? We got just over 40 minutes till the deadline. Just over 40 minutes. As of right now, 57% of you think that I should start Sanchez and 43% think I should start Dubravka. I am really tempted to switch it to Dubravka. Sorry, I meant free hit. Oh, okay. Yeah, send your free hit team across then. Sorry, I thought you were playing a different game. Triple Wolves and Triple Villa. I don't have it. Can you just add it as another comment then, Izzy Gaming? Because I can't see your original one. Would you play a Stev over Reinders? I'm thinking about that myself, you know. Maybe I do switch these two. Something like that. Just so that if I do get someone off the bench, it's a Forest player. Sorry, a Burnley defender. Who do I captain today, Ross? Today, Salah. I don't know. I've got a really bad feeling Tijani Reinders scores against Arsenal. Don't know why. I know people say starting them, but I don't have any reason for that. It's just like a weird gut feeling kind of thing. No early team news as of right now for Liverpool, but I imagine we will get some potentially. Liverpool do have quite a few people that like leak the teams and have information, so you never know. Just seeing if I can see anything. Nothing yet. Would you play free hit if you were going to 2 Premier League games this weekend and you want to make your entire team full of live players? It depends why you play the game. If you play the game for absolute fun and vibes, then yes. If you're playing the game because it's really important to you to win your mini leagues and get the most points at the end of the season, then no. Depends why you play the game. Good morning, Ross. Good morning, Romeo. Best King replacement for bench boost, 2.8 million in the bank. For bench boost. Caicedo's probably fine. In the long term, he's a great pick as well. It depends if you need a player in the long term or if this is just really short term just for the sake of a bench boost. Maybe Anderson from Nottingham Forest for the next couple of weeks also works quite well. Thoughts on Konsa, wildcard as a cheap defender? I don't love it because Konsa's, like, as of right now, Villa are the 19th. Sorry, no, they're not. They're the second. So they're the worst defence in the league so far this season, Aston Villa. The worst defence in the league, and he doesn't get DEFCON. Like, Konsa never gets close to DEFCON. So you've got a player that doesn't get DEFCON, who's playing in a bad defence. I wouldn't go Konsa, no. personally. Who to bench up? Haaland, Gyökeres, Watermade, Rogers, Semenyo, Anderson, Kudus, Gakpo. Oh, probably Kudus or Watermade. I'm tempted to say Kudus. Kudus or Watermade would be the two I'd be choosing between, Ben, though. Dave says, I think with DEFCON we need to get over this idea of starting all of your attackers over defenders. I don't know about getting over the idea. I guess what I would say, Dave, which is probably what you're essentially suggesting, is that I now think that starting defenders over attackers is a lot more viable. For sure. Absolutely. I don't think, though, this means that you always start your defenders. Like, if I think Reinders has a chance of returning, I can absolutely put him first sub ahead of a Stev, for example. But if you're looking at, like, a defender that has great DEFCON potential and an attacker that you don't think has much potential this week, then yeah. I mean, that's the reason I'm starting Richards over Reinders. Like, in any normal world, I don't do that. But I am this week. FPL Victoria's Secret says, please rate my wildcard 6. I would give that wildcard 6. Love the defense. Ryder, Bravka, Gabriel, Richardson, Essie, Anderson, great. Palmer's Menu, Xavi, Reinders, Dewsbury, Hall. I would give that a 9.8 out of 10. It's essentially what I would do if I were to wildcard. It's Joe says, hi Ross, what is your opinion on who I should pick for last man standing? Who would you back to win? Not confident on any. Yeah, that's not easy, is it? I would go Villa. The other three in particular, I'm really not sure. Villa should win this game. Come on, they've got to win this game. So I would go Villa. Bench boost of Dubravka, Estev, King and Keane. Not for me. I mean, is there a small chance Branthwaite's back for this game? I don't know if there is. But King, a bit of a doubt as well. Keane probably won't keep a clean sheet. I probably wouldn't bench boost that Jack. Although, it's like 30% of me says bench boost, 70% says no. Is he game in? Okay, your free hit. Johnston, Agbadu, Van Dijk, Munoz, Salah, Hwang, Rogers, Elliott, Pino, Watkins, Mateta. Sorry about the confusion, but yeah, I'm on free hit. Any ideas? You've got loads of risks there in terms of starting players. Like, apparently, Agbadu's been terrible. Johnston's fine. Pino, slight risk, but should start. Elliott, a bit of a risk. Hwang, a bit of a risk. I mean, if I was on a free hit, my team would look nothing like that. But that's just because that's not the way that I play the game. I would put in penalty takers with good minutes. I would have Semenyo in there. I would have... Who else would I have? Like, what are the penalty takers? I'd probably have... The free hit, I just think stinks. This is why I'm struggling. I'd probably have Gibbs White in there. Potentially. I mean, it's not awful. It's not awful. I don't want to completely ruin your vibe. But yeah, I struggled this week with a free hit. Would you bench boost Strand Larson, Dubravka, Estev and Reinders? Yes. Yeah, I'd go for that. Missed my super chat before the wildcard draft. Did I? Oh, I did. Would you start with Bruno, Cunha, and Burmo on wildcard 6 and then move to Palmer in game week 8, 9? No, I would just start with Palmer now. Yeah, I would just start with Palmer now. If you can get Palmer over Bruno, I'd be tempted to do that. Oh, sorry. You're only going to have one of them. I do like Mbermo, though. Actually, tell a lie. Maybe start with Mbermo and leave money in the bank, but I think I'll just have Palmer. If you've got the money for Palmer, get Palmer. Edan says, hello, Ross. Our weekly date again. Hello. Who would you start from these three, and in what order would you bench the other two? So I would start, honestly, Rodon, I think, and I would probably have... Reinders and Estev is so close. On paper, I think Rodon, Estev, Reinders is probably the correct order, but I've just got a sneaky suspicion. I think Reinders is such a baller that I've got in my head, but I would probably start Rodon out of those. Start Van der Ven or Reinders, you bald love god. I would start Van der Ven. Start Van der Ven. Jeremy Pino has been looking good. Looking fine for the last two games. What do you think? Yeah, he's looked pretty good. I would have Pino probably on a wild card. On a free hit. Would I buy Pino this week? Probably not, especially considering it's Liverpool next week. Yo, I'm trying to figure out who to play between Kudus and Konsa. I'd probably go Kudus there. Is Palmer injured? Maresca said he's fine. Whatever he's fine, or he said he's okay. Whatever that means. He was holding his groin at the end of the Champions League game, but I think he probably will be okay. That doesn't mean that he won't be benched and rested, by the way, but I think he'll start. It's a big game. As much as people roast Man United and we're not very good, Chelsea and Maresca will still see this as a game where they need to go full strength. Hello, Ross. My team is Sanchez, Porro, Malenko. Okay, I've got your team, Hitik. 2 free transfers. Wirtz and Ruta to Xavi and Njai. Should I do it this game week or hold till next? Definitely next. If not this game week, then start one of Reinders, Ruta, or Trufer. I'd probably start Ruta out of those options. And yeah, I don't think that makes sense to do this week. Xavi's got Brighton, not perfect. And Njai's got Liverpool. I would definitely do that next week, Hitik, if it was me. Start Senesi or Calafiori. Honestly, probably Calafiori. Just. Stumpy2517. Okay, I've got your team. 2 free transfers and no clue how to fix this. How to fix it. Defense looks fine. Midfield looks okay. Forward line looks decent. What are you trying to fix? It doesn't look like it needs a fix. I'd roll, I think. Gakpo, Reinders. I mean, you have to start one of Reinders or a 4 at the back this week. Just start a 4 at the back. That looks like a really easy 4-4-2. Bench Reinders and Guiu. Your team looks pretty similar to me, and I'm not too worried this week. Hi, Eggy. Start Statch or Porro? Probably Porro. Is your plan to bench boost this team or no? This week? No, I'm not touching the bench boost this week. I'm going to bench boost probably in game week 9, I would imagine. The Moon Kitty says, here's my wildcard team. Okay, I got you. Vicario, Van der Ven, Tarkovsky, Munoz, Gabriel, Caicedo, Palmer, Salah, Grealish, Semenyo, Palmer, João Pedro. My bench is Dubravka, Senesi, Thiago, and Isidore. My plan is game week 6, maybe switch Haaland and Salah. I'm betting on Salah in game week 5. I was going to say, you need Salah to go massive to justify... You're booking in 2 transfers a week after you wildcard. So you do need Salah to go huge in game week 5 to justify that. Otherwise, you would just start with Haaland. But yeah, that is a nice team. I like some of the picks in there are fun. Like I say, I think Caicedo is good. I like the Tarkovsky pick. Should be a good 5 to 6 weeks for you. Maybe across the next 2, by the way. I don't think this team looks perfect across the next 2 weeks. But I think longer term, like you've set yourself up really well here. Jishnu says, firstly, I'm a huge fan from India. Big love. Lots of people from India watched the video, so I appreciate that. Second, I'm very new to this, so thank you. I'm more than happy to try and help people that are new to the game. I've got a bench of Dubravka, Reinders, Rodon, and Paquetá. Should I bench boost? In a normal season, Jishnu, if you are very new to FPL, I would not recommend bench boosting like that. But considering we get 2 bench boosts this year for the first time, yes, I would bench boost that. I think that's a perfectly viable bench boost. Ben says, hi Ross, Senesi or Paquetá? Or bench boost, Paquetá, Livramento, and King. I would bench boost. But if you're going to start one of them, definitely Paquetá. Do you see yourself ever picking Reece James again? If he can go through the entire season without injuries and looking really fit and starts a lot of games, yes. I think Reece James on his day is one of the best defenders and fullbacks in world football. In fact, I think prime Reece James in his best form is the best right back in the world. I'm going to get roasted for that. I genuinely think he's that good. On his day, Reece James is scary because his physicality combined with his crossing ability and his technicality, I think he's a fantastic one-on-one defender. Like Reece James is unbelievable on his day, but his day doesn't come very often because he can't stay fit. And I also wonder, will we ever see that Reece James again? You know, the Reece James where he's like marauding up and down the wing. I don't know. Everyone's lost their mind. What about Hakimi? Hakimi's fantastic. I just think Reece James is unbelievable. Like there were a couple of games 2 seasons ago when you were watching Reece James and you're like, oh my god, like because I remember it was at the point when Trent was fantastic. It's like I don't think Trent gets this close to this good on his day. Like just Reece James is such a shame about his injury record because he would absolutely be the starting right back for England without a shadow of a doubt, and he might be, by the way, under Thomas Tuchel, but he would be like, there wouldn't be a question mark over it. Here for FPL says, hi mate, final question for this game week, no worries. Play 2 of a Stev, Porro, Reinders, Juve. Have a great weekend. You too. I think that's very difficult, my friend. I would probably start Porro and a Stev. but you could comfortably make an argument for the other ones. It's one of those, we've spoke about this before in DMs. It's one of those where you trust your gut feeling, I think. But I would probably go Porro and a Stev if that was my team. Martin. Okay, I've got your team, Martin. Roll and get Haaland next week for Watkins and Mateta. Palmer essential. Palmer's not essential now, especially when there are doubts around his fitness. I think you can roll that team, yeah. I don't see anything that massively stands out as like, oh, that's rough this week. I mean, you've got Gibbs White, it's a nice pick. Defense looks good. Yeah, I would roll and get Haaland next week. Order these, please. Njai, Reinders, Rodon, Van de Ven, Murillo. I would probably say Njai first, then Murillo. Because again, if he's fit, will start. Otherwise, he won't play probably. Then Van de Ven, Rodon, Reinders. Probably in that order. Hi, Ross. Bench one of Tosin, Porro, Murillo. Cheers. I would probably bench Tosin out of those options there. Khan. Okay, what would I do? 0 in the bank, 1 free transfer. Option 1 is roll and game week 6, Salah and Watkins to Wirtz and Erling. Sorry, Salah and Watkins and Wirtz to Erling, Eze, Foden and Jai for -4. Or 2 wild card next week. Does that team need a wild card? You've got Wood next week, which isn't too bad. You've got Gyökeres in there. You got Semenyo already. No, I don't think that team needs a wild card. I would make the 3 moves that you've said you're going to make, Khan, and I think that's fine. Yeah, as of right now, I don't look at that as needing a wild card. Is this the final team, Rossi boy? I think so, yeah. Thank you very much, Shazam. We do have just under 30 minutes till the deadline. Yeah, this should be the final team. As I said, guys, these streams are sponsored by Club. Club have been a massive supporter of my channel. I won't keep... What's the word I'm looking for there? Honing on? Anyway, rambling egg. Please do check out Club. If you're interested in just a little bit more of a fun, casual experience with fantasy football where you don't have to stress every single game week, I highly recommend checking it out. There is a link down below. It's free to play, by the way. Harping on. Thank you, Frosty. So yeah, do check it out. If you don't like it, just don't play it. It doesn't cost any money. Just give it a try. I recommend it. I think you'll enjoy it. And because it's weekly head-to-head fantasy football, if you have a bad week, you just bounce back next week. It doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't affect your overall season. So yeah, there'll be a link down below to download Club. Also, make sure to join my league. I've been doing giveaways. We've already done one, and we're going to do another one coming up very soon. My league code is 3462SK7. If you join my league, you'll be in for the chance to win some prizes as well. And like I said, yeah, that is my team going into game week 5 in Club. Semenyo is so overhyped. I would agree in the sense that I think people are saying he's better than he is, but he's still one of the better midfielders to own in FPL. But do I think Semenyo will continue at his current rate? If he does, he's going to have a stupid season. But yeah, I do agree. There is some level of just overhyping ever so slightly, but... If someone was to say, I need to bring in one midfielder this week, I probably would still say Semenyo. What are your thoughts on Burmo captain? Not for me, because I do think Chelsea is still a decent enough defence. I would probably say I prefer Gyökeres to Mbemo. Also, Gyökeres on penalties is nice. What are your thoughts on Reinders, Njai and Elliott on wildcard? So I love Njai, I love Reinders. Elliott, it could be worth the risk. But we just don't yet know at this stage whether he is going to start every single game. So I will say at this early stage, no on Elliott, but Reinders and Njai I really like. Especially Njai, I think I'll have him on a wild card. JB says, good morning, Ross. Starting Murillo, benches Sanchez, Njai, Porro and Juve. Is it worth bench boosting? Again, if Murillo misses out, it's a bit of a stinker, but I think it could be worth the risk. It's such a difficult one, right? Because in hindsight, if Murillo doesn't start, it's like, of course you shouldn't have. Whereas if Murillo does start... I think you'll regret not bench boosting that. If you have no Salah, yeah, I would still captain Haaland ahead of Semenyo. Am I too late to Club since I assume it's ranked? No, because it's sorted by each game week. So like my league, look, it's sorted by game week, not overall. So each game week is new. Also, the leagues refresh every 3 or 4 games. So you're basically placed in leagues and then you work your way up the rankings. So after the next 2 games, I'll then be in another league. So that's the good thing about Club. You know, like if an FPL, if you don't start in game week 1, that's it. You can sort of join Club whenever you want. And then, like I say, you'll just be entered into a new league for that specific week. So yeah, By the way, the club deadline isn't until the first kickoff or just before the first kickoff, so you've got a bit of time. If you download it now, you'll have time to sort of get a team together ready for this game week. Who would you start out of Senesi, Van der Ven, and Estev? Oh, that's tough. Probably Senesi, Defcon Monster. Dave says, in 21-22, James got the same goal contributions as Foden and had 0.68 goal and assist per 90. That was the season, wasn't it? Yeah, that's scary stuff, Dave. Scary stuff. Good morning, Ross. Pick 3 of Gabriel, Gay, Anderson, Williams, Van der Ven. Gabriel, Anderson, Williams. I think. Yeah. Gabriel, Anderson, Williams. Bench 1 of Van der Ven, Kukurea, Goodmanson. Probably Goodmanson. Ben says, last question from me. Armband on Semenyo or Haaland? I'm a Geordie, so if he does well, then it won't hurt as much. Yeah, maybe then. Maybe you go Semenyo. I think Semenyo versus Haaland's pretty close. I would go Haaland, but I think there isn't that much in it. Bowen to Wood or Mateta or Roll? I'd probably just Roll. Wish you could respond just once. Love from Egypt. There you go, Mohammed. I'm responding. Start Dubravka or Petrovic? That's a really tough one to respond to. I would start Dubravka probably, just about. Is 14 predicted points from the bench a bench boost? Yeah. I would say anything above like 12 is pretty good for this first bench boost. Yeah. Didn't Maresca say that Sanchez might be benched? Not really, no. The quote was, who will start? And he was like, it will be Sanchez starting in the Champions League. And then he went on to say, but yeah, don't worry. Like, Jorgensen will start some games for sure. But the context of the quote from Maresca was basically him saying, I'm going to start Sanchez once again. So for me, it almost sounded, it almost sounded for me more of a positive than a negative. Now, I could have misread that. I'm not perfect at sort of understanding the intention behind what a manager says, but that was the way that I viewed that quote from Maresca. All of that to say, if Sanchez doesn't start, I'm very happy. Bench boosters aren't, but I would be delighted. W Stream says, Dubravka, Ruta, Romero, Estev, bench boost. Yeah, that's probably bench boostable for me. I would say so. Kieran says, would you bench boost Dewsbury Hall, Dubravka, Estev, and Juve? Yep, as well. I would bench boost it without seeing the rest of your team. You might not be having a great year yourself, but thank you for the guidance, unbiased analyst. I am at 100k because of it. Honestly, I would rather not do well myself, but give better advice than vice versa. The whole point of my channel is to entertain and give good info. If I can help most of you to achieve a good rank, then that is sort of my purpose served. Obviously, I also would like a good rank, by the way. My ranks aren't bad, by the way. I feel like people new to my channel think I stink. I'm not saying I'm fantastic. Like, where do we get ranks? Here we go. So I've been creating content on YouTube for 5 years. My first year... No, I wasn't creating YouTube content here. This is when I started, right? So 4 years. This is my 5th year. So 35k, 10k, 29k, 12k. That's 4 consecutive ranks inside the top 35k. It's certainly not awful. Not great. Could be better for sure. But hopefully it will be another decent rank. For sure. That would be nice. I'd like to get top 50k again. I'd be a bit sad if I fell out the top 50k this season. Where was I? I did that. Pick Timber or Munoz for the long term. Long term, probably Timber. Ashley says, you absolutely nail it on the entertainment front and advice. Now to get you up the table. Thank you very much, Ashley. How do I cancel my free hit? You cannot. I don't think. Am I right in saying that? I should know that by now. I don't think you can cancel a wildcard or a free hit. You can cancel a bench boost and a triple captain, but once you confirm a free hit or a wildcard, that is that. As far as I'm aware. Polkit says, bench one of Van der Ven, Nico Williams, or Rodon. I wouldn't bench Nico Williams. It would be Van der Ven or Rodon. I'd probably bench Rodon there. Is a dang... I'm gonna entertain your comment for now, Killian, to show that I don't only read Super Chats. No, I don't know if Adingra will start. Adingra's played sort of 70-70, 20-70. Who knows if Adingra's going to start? I'm not honestly tracking the Sunderland team news, so I wouldn't know. Vert's going close to going 0-0-7, so today he gets 7 points. If Vert's blanks again, I'm going to be so annoyed. Come on now, Vert, surely. Are you bench boosting? No, not with this team. Not with this team. I'd have to transfer out Giyu. And I need 2 transfers next week to get Haaland, so it just doesn't work. Doesn't work. Cunha or Anderson? I love Cunha, so I'll say Cunha. Think you can cancel the wildcard if you haven't made a transfer yet? I was under the impression you could only confirm a wildcard if you have made a transfer, though. That's the way to activate your wildcard, is to make a transfer, right? Anyway, just don't activate a wildcard or free hit unless you're absolutely sure, is essentially the learning point here. Balash says, hi Ross, thinking about bench boost, should I go for it with Porro, Dubravka, Reinders and Tarkovsky? Yeah, I would go for it with that bench. Should I drop Ekatike to Gyökeres for a -4? Should I bench boost with Porro, Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall and Goodmanson? I would bench boost. I wouldn't make that transfer, Kai. You've predicted 2 Villa goals. You're insane. That is fair enough. It's very clear that Aston Villa will never score a goal ever again. People crack me up, man. After because in the first 4 game weeks Villa didn't score, Villa will never score ever again. That'll be it. Villa will get relegated to the Championship, and then they won't score in the Championship, and then they'll score in they won't score in the League One, and then they won't score in League Two. Oh, Aaron is a Sunderland fan. For Sunderland, Adingra might not start. There is a good chance Lafille will come back in. There we go. If you've got Adingra, our resident Sunderland fan, so there's a chance he doesn't start. They'll end up in the National League. Yeah, but the issue is, Jack, because they didn't score in the first 4 game weeks, they'll end up in the National League, but they won't score in the National League as well. This is the concern I have. They'll be playing Sunday League football soon, Villa, because they didn't score in the first 4. Have you sold Dorgu? Yes. Not that I ever owned him, funnily enough. It's so funny how many people thought I had Dorgu. I did hype Dorgu up a lot in pre-season, to be fair. Start Tosin or Dewsbury Hall. I would start Dewsbury Hall. Gabriel and Reinders or Timber and Jai on a wild card. Oh, that's so tough. I would probably go Gabriel and Reinders. I just don't know that Timber's going to start every game, especially with White now back. Aston Villa will be playing against #United. Yeah, but the issue is, because Villa didn't score in the opening 4 game weeks, they wouldn't score against #United either. This is the concern I'm having, you know. Is Jeremy Pino good? I reckon so. I don't feel fully confident there yet, you know. Where did the head tilt let's get into it come from? Class, start to your video. I always started with let's get into it, or let's jump into it. But then I sort of one day I just went like, let's get into it, you know, like, hey. And then it suddenly got more and more. And now there's going to be a stage I'm going to get whiplash. Without further ado, and then I'm going to like whip my head and I'm going to have to be like in a neck brace. I don't know why I started doing it, in all fairness. It's a bit weird. Some people, it triggers a lot of people. I've had to block people from my channel because they're like, if this guy doesn't stop doing that cringy intro. Hi, Ross, start Goodmanson, Reinders or Grealish. All of the above are fine. I'd go Grealish. Grealish is on a nice little streak, isn't he? Ross, you've missed my super chat, mate. I literally just answered it, Rob. About 3 or 4 minutes ago. I can answer it again. And I said, I really like Njai, but because I don't know if Timber will start every game, I would go for Gabriel and Reinders. It's my own version of Here We Go. Here we go. Buy Eze instead. Yeah, Eze's fine as a pick. But again, when Saka's back, either Saka doesn't get every available minute or Madueke starts taking minutes off Eze. And in all fairness, I do wonder if Madueke was originally bought not only as Saka backup, but to potentially play on the left wing. You've got 15 minutes till the deadline, by the way. 15 minutes. Would you have Wirtz on a wild card? I mean, unless you are a massive Liverpool fan, which I think based on your profile picture you might be, I wouldn't have Wirtz anywhere near a wild card. Is Ross rolling or making a transfer? I'm rolling, Miles. No transfer here. FPL Siva says 3 beers deep at an all-inclusive in Turkey. Definitely fancy the Foden punt next week before the wild card. Come on the Salah today. Big love. I actually looked at this. So next week, rather than buying Semenyo here, I could buy Foden. So this could end up being my team for game week 6. It's not bad, is it? I did look at that. Maybe Philip. Maybe Philip is the one. Philip, you're the one. I do love Phil. People will know whenever I own Philip Foden, Philip Walter Foden. Let's use his full name, Philip Walter Foden, I normally do quite well. I tend to time him quite well. So, let's see. Well, I want to see how he gets on this week if he starts again. But the thing is, Burnley at home is such a game where the likes of Reinders and Foden could be benched. That's a discussion for next week anyway, isn't it? I'm trying to bench boost, but I want to change Guiu to any forward. Any ideas who? Thiago, fine. Probably Moniz. If you're looking for a cheap forward, even Foster could be an okay shout, but I would go Moniz, I think. Does Isak get any minutes today? Yeah, I'd imagine Isak gets some minutes, but I don't think he'll start. That's just my prediction, though. I could be very wrong on that. Chris says start Senesi or Tarkovsky. Probably Senesi. Anirud says Mateta, Watkins, Gakpo, Haaland, Semenyo, who to captain. I would go Haaland, Watkins, or Semenyo would be my top three there. I still don't mind Watkins cap. Goran says, would you bench boost Dubravka, Estev, Tosin, Kudus? Yes. Would you risk starting Murillo or start Van de Ven or Porro? I would start Murillo, Jason, because as I've said throughout the stream, I kind of feel like if Murillo is fit, he starts. If Murillo's not fit, they're not going to put him on the bench. They have a cup game midweek, so I think Foden could start on the weekend. Good point, Will. Good point. Yeah, good point. I like that. By the way, guys, if you are one of the 5,000 people watching right now that's not yet subscribed, we are 150 subscribers from 169,000. Please, 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 if you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. I do a deadline stream every week, transfer plans, game week preview. I'm going to trial out a new series at the start of next week as well. We've got team selection, deadline decisions, short form content. There's loads of content here on my channel, so please do make sure to check it out and subscribe. Start Dubravka or Sells? Yeah, a few people asking this. I would still start Sells, I think. Semenyo in for Kudus or Njaya or roll the transfer? I would roll the transfer and just keep those two. Captain Watkins or play safe with Salah? I like Watkins, Cap. I don't mind it, but I would go Salah. Okay?
Yeah, I'm just watching.
Okay, no, I'm just watching.
No pressure.
You get behind the scenes of the stream versus watching how other people do. You're the only person that gets to watch the stream from that angle.
Yeah, it's fun.
Subscribe, you freeloaders. Exactly. I'm glad someone said it, Daniel. Thoughts on Vicario? Fine option. Hopefully get team news as I want to start Frimpong. I reckon Bradley starts for what it's worth, but I don't know. But I wouldn't feel overly confident on Frimpong. Bench boost of Dubravka, Van de Ven, Elliott, Goodmanson. Yeah, I'd bench boost that. Even if Elliott doesn't start, minutes off the bench, Van de Ven, Goodmanson, Dubravka, good. I think if you're in a position where you can unleash the bench boost this week, I would unleash it. My bench boost is not active because I have a Mark Guiu shaped problem. Do you think Richarlison will start? No idea. Sorry. I will not pretend to know. If you had Strand last instead of Guiu, would you bench boost? 100%. 100%. If Mark Guiu was anyone other than Mark Guiu, absolute waste of space, then I probably would bench boost. Reinders or Njai? I'd start the penalty taker. Bradley definitely starts. I would imagine Bradley starts, unless you've seen a team leak. I've not seen anything yet, but yeah, I would imagine Bradley starts for sure.
Our teams are so different.
I know, it's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's a better chef, you or Pickle? We both chef it up. Pickle makes some mean bolognese.
I'd say he's better.
I wouldn't. Speaking of, can you put the oven on when
I was about
at
to
11?
do that at the deadline.
At the deadline, put the oven on, and then we'll have the chicken. Have some chicken. Chicken and a can of Coke. That sounded like I said a different word there, didn't it? Hi Ross, why are you going Porro over Reinders? Do you not think Brighton score? Possibly. Yeah, I mean, there is a discussion to be had there, I suppose. Maybe I could even start a Stev over Porro. It feels weird not... In fact, I don't like that Porro and Kudus aren't lined up there. One sec. Now that I've spotted that. In fact, what I should probably do is like this, and then like this, and then like this. Does that look prettier? Doesn't really, does it? Oh, well. You win some, you lose some. That's how we're rocking with it now. Yeah, there's definitely a world in which I start Reinders or Esteve ahead of Pedro Porro. Bench boost of Goodmanson or use free transfer to Anderson? Oh, Goodmanson's fine on a bench boost. JB and Duvet says Dubravka / Goodmanson, toss in Dewsbury Hall. Is that a bench boost? Yes. Yeah, I'd bench boost that. Dewsbury Hall's fine on a bench boost. So's Reinders. Like, these are the sort of weeks where you could just get a surprise return from them. Start 2, bench 1. Senesi, Anderson, Ekatike. Definitely start Ekatike. I would probably bench Senesi. Talk me through making the perfect cup of tea. I'm not fantastic here. I let the tea bag brew for probably way too long. I really like a strong cup of tea. If I'm gonna have a cup of tea, I go hot water before milk. I know that is controversial. I would never put milk in with the tea bag. I make sure that the tea bag is out before I put the milk in. You know? Probably 2 to 3 minutes of the tea bag brewing. Squeeze the tea bag. Out it comes. In goes the milk. A little dash of milk, you know? There you go. There's the perfect cup of tea. Are you on bench boost, Ross? No, I'm not. That's normal, though. The amount of people I've seen that pour milk straight onto a tea bag is upsetting. I'll be honest. No, like, trust me. Lots of people, tea bag, milk, go straight in. Obscene behaviour. On the other hand, coffee, milk can go first because then you don't burn the coffee. Little tip for you. If you're making an instant coffee, milk, stir it, then the hot water. Don't mind that. Don't mind that. I mean, we're not talking about tea and coffee here. We're talking about FPL. But if I was to, wouldn't mind it. Any Frimpong news? No, but my prediction is that Connor Bradley starts. But we don't have any team leaks as of right now. Captain Haaland, Semenyo, Gakpo, or João Pedro. All 4 of those are fantastic captaincy options. I'd probably go Haaland or Semenyo. I don't mind Captain Semenyo if you want to go for it. I mean, I don't even own the man, but I don't mind it. Khan says, start 3 of Porro, Munoz, Konsa, Juve, Esteve, or should I bench boost with Dubravka, Reinders, and 2 of these defenders? Bench boost. I'd bench boost that, Khan. Captain shout for Gyökeres, Wood, Watkins. I prefer Watkins from those options. I have Bowen. Is he a good asset against Palace? No, because Palace are a fantastic defence, but he's not bad. Like, you could certainly see Bowen returning, for sure. Coffee is just better. I agree with that. I'm more of a coffee person than a tea person. We can run a coffee versus tea poll in 10 minutes when the deadline's gone. Sounds like a cheeky post-deadline stream poll to me, if I've ever heard one. Choose one player for the next 2 games. Pedro, Watkins, Wood. I kind of do low-key want to say Watkins, but I'll say João Pedro. If Wood's minutes were better, I would say Chris Wood, but we just don't know on his minutes. That's the concern. Hoping we get team news as I have Porro on the bench for Frimpong, just a gut feeling. Yeah, Frimpong could start. I just don't think he will. I think Bradley will start. But I'm not a Liverpool fan. I'm not tracking the Liverpool team. I'm not tracking Liverpool forums. It's just a prediction, which could be horribly wrong. Let me see if I can find... I'll try and search for a few accounts that I know sometimes post early team news. See, some Liverpool fans are saying they expect Frimpong to start. Maybe start Frimpong. Maybe ignore me, actually. Yeah, loads of Liverpool fans are saying they think Frimpong could start. And I know nothing really on that front, so... Yeah, maybe ignore me. Are you going to make a transfer this week? No, I'm rolling the transfer this week. Ross, help me, Raya or Dubravka? I'd go Raya. Because City will take a lot of shots, at least, in this game. If he cleans, he's going to get a monster haul. And if he doesn't, he might still get you 3 or 4 points. Carol Shaw says, Timber Tarkovsky King or Gabriel Anderson Dewsbury Hall? Gabriel Anderson Dewsbury Hall. Also, is Walter Marde a good punt over Evan Nilsson? Yeah, I think they're pretty comparable. I probably marginally prefer Evan Nilsson, but I don't mind Walter Marde. Excuse me. Any update on Murillo? No. No, sadly not. I reckon it's Soberslide, to be honest, or Bradley to handle Grealish. Yeah, that is the thing. Although, if Frimpong's starting, he'll push Grealish back, right? Grealish will have to do a lot more defending. So I guess the more aggressive approach is to start Frimpong. I don't know. Maybe there's enough concern to just avoid. I would have predicted Bradley, but God knows. Are team leaks a thing of the past? No, we could still get a team leak. There's still 5 minutes. I hope we don't. I always say that I would rather there were no team leaks. You have to look at team leaks now because it's part of the game. Like, if you can get them, you get them. But I would always, yeah. If I could change it so that there were no team leaks, that would be nice. No, I'm not making a transfer this week for those asking. This is my team. Stells or Dubravka? I'd go Stells. Elliot Anderson or Reinders? I'd go Anderson. I'd start you two Forest boys. Mario is out according to FPL Harry. Who is FPL Harry? I've never heard of this person, so I don't know why they would suddenly have team news. I think they're just guessing. That feels like a guess so far. Yeah, I wouldn't trust that. What's the advantage of holding Fernandes? Not using a transfer, a player that can get you DEFCON or a penalty in any given game, and also these two fixtures here are nice. Brentford and Sunderland. If you do not want to hold Bruno Fernandes, please do not. If you don't want to own Bruno Fernandes, please do not. If you have issues with Bruno Fernandes, have your issues. I don't mind. I mean, people, honestly, my YouTube comments this week have only been about Bruno Fernandes, and I'm sat there with Florian Wirtz and Ollie Watkins in my team. I'm like, how are people complaining about Bruno Fernandes, who got us a 10-pointer as our captain, by the way, in that week, when I've got Wirtz and Watkins sat there? Like, surely they're bigger issues than Bruno. It's crazy that people just hate Bruno. I would go as far as saying, I've been creating content for almost 5 years now. I would say Bruno Fernandes is by far and away the most hated FPL player, and I would say the most hated Premier League footballer of all time by opposing fans. I've never seen such like head loss from people about how much they hate Bruno. It's mental. Like, I'm talking like full-blown head loss. Like some of the comments and abuse that you receive because you own a player in fantasy, and it's always about Bruno Fernandes. It's mental. Captain GW5 or Haaland? I would go Haaland there. Reason for not captaining Salah being an Everton fan? Yeah, if you don't want to captain Salah because you're an Everton fan, that's absolutely fair enough. Don't blame you. You need to wildcard, pal. I'm all right, thanks, mate. He's one of the best midfielders in his prime. I think so. One defender transfer in. Who? Oh, I need to know how much money you've got. I mean, long term, it's an Arsenal defender. This week, Van Dijk seems decent enough. Yeah. Raya or Dubravka? I would just back Arsenal, Raya. Timbo Sly says, Ross, would rather no team leaks because he doesn't want to be cancelled for fake news again like last week. Exactly. I don't want that stress. No, but I just don't think it's fair. Like, there will be people in time zones where they're asleep right now. Is it fair if 2 minutes before the deadline we get a Liverpool leak? It's not really. This team is dreadful after game week 6, let's be honest. Really? That's my team in game week 6. Sorry, after game week 5, you said. I don't think that team looks terrible in game week 6 at all. I might wildcard next week anyway. I might wildcard next week. Who knows? I still need to decide that today. Because there'll be price rises today, so I'll have to have a bit of a think about it this evening. Why is everyone just saying Porro? I'm just getting loads of comments that just say Porro. What about Porro? Start Strand Larson or Reinders? Oh, I'd take a risk on Strand Larson. I'd take a risk on Strand Larson. You've got less than a minute till the deadline. I've just seen. Less than a minute. Get your teams locked in. Make sure that you got your bench order sorted. Make sure you got captaincy sorted. Make sure you have your chip active if you have a chip active. Or if you've not got a chip active, make sure you've not accidentally activated it. Just get everything sorted and in place. Porro out. Why is everyone saying Porro out? What's happened? I missed something. I didn't see anything. Well, I don't know why everyone's just saying Porro. It's 11 o'clock now. I must have missed something. Unless everyone's just trolling. I'm going to make the assumption everyone's trolling. You're being baited. Well, I was being baited by you, Frosty. That was what stressed me out, is that you said Porro. If Porro is out, then that's great. I'll just get Reinders off the bench. We are locked. We are done. You lot can stop trolling me. Don't like you. I don't like you guys. Don't like you guys at all. Just blocking everyone individually. Right, there we are. I need to tweak my team. And then Activate the wild card. What, straight away? Even when the game's locked, just do it. There, bang. Is that my team? Yeah, it's my team. All right, pin that. Pin. I missed the deadline. That's a disaster. That is a disaster. Coffee or tea? Yeah, we need to run a coffee or tea poll, don't we? That's the essential viewing, you know? That's the reason why we're all here. Add post. Why you're forcing Ross's villain arc? Yeah, imagine I just absolutely crash out. Absolute head loss. Start a poll. Okay. Favorite hot drink? Coffee. What is like, is it called English tea? Because I want to put also like herbal / green tea as one option. What is like an English, is like an English tea, like a British, is it called an English tea? You know, like a PG Tips or like a, is it English tea? Breakfast tea. I was called a breakfast tea. Okay. Breakfast tea. I knew it had a name. Okay, breakfast tea. Then we've got like green / herbal tea. And then we've got hot chocolate. Is that right? Green tea and herbal tea are not the same. Yeah, but Frosty, there's not 5 options on the YouTube poll, is there? So they're going to have to be grouped together. Matcha. I can't put... There's only 4 options, guys. Should I put matcha along with green and herbal? Hot milk. No adult is drinking hot milk. I'm sorry. Like, right, if you're an adult right now and you're drinking hot milk, own up. Poll. If you're an adult right now that is drinking hot milk, own up, and we're all going to judge you. Chai. If you drink chai, just put that in the green / herbal tea. Bovril. I'm not putting Bovril as an option. It's outrageous behaviour. I don't mind if someone likes Bovril, but surely someone's favourite hot drink isn't Bovril. I don't see it. Hot milk. No, you're not drinking hot milk. Whoever goes to Starbucks, Costa, Nero and gets a latte may as well be drinking hot milk. I do kind of get that. Yeah, I do kind of drink that. In fact, I don't get that with Costa. Costa, did you know that the average Costa cappuccino or latte, one of them, has 4 times the caffeine of like Pret and Starbucks? Like the amount of caffeine in a Costa coffee is borderline illegal. Like if you look at the ingredients of how much caffeine, if after you drink a Costa you think sometimes you feel quite lit, then it's because of the amount of caffeine. Will you decide today on X if you're wildcarding? I'll at least update you on my thinking, yes. Maybe we'll even do a live stream this evening if I wildcard. Who knows? You know? As of right now, 50% coffee, 22% breakfast tea, 21% hot chocolate, and 7% green / herbal tea. Some rumours are saying Isak and Ekatike start together. If that's true, then one of Gakpo or Wirtz isn't in the team. And if it's Wirtz, I'm going to have an absolute head loss. Absolute head loss if that's the case. Let's see if we can find any news. I mean, we'll get the team in 10 minutes, to be fair. Maybe it is a 4-4-2 with Florian Wirtz not playing. Who knows? We doing food after, Ross? I love a good Subway or KFC is hungover. I'm having chicken in the oven for lunch, but we could do a poll on it for sure. I mean, Avert's benching would be about Avert's benching would be about as bad as the start to the game week could be. I think we'll see. I've not seen anything super reliable. Where are people seeing the Isaac starts, by the way? I've not seen that. When do lineups come out? They'll come out in 9 minutes. To be fair, if Verts is on the bench, then maybe he will actually get a return for once. I don't think it's any more likely that he'll return if he starts. Ross, can you please tell the people in from Club to make it available in the Netherlands? I think it's not to do with people at Club. It's to do with like regulations in different countries and having to satisfy certain things. So they absolutely, by the way, will be looking to make it available in Club. Yeah, I think my team's sorted for Club, by the way. Let's actually have a quick look. Where are we going to go? Asim on X said, wow, don't tell me Salah's benched. Is it going to be something mental? What's his Twitter? I can't remember. Is it this guy? Yes, kind of. Oh, no. I'm really worried that Verts doesn't start. That would be such a stinky start to the game week, honestly. We'll see. We'll find out soon. Anyway, yeah. If you've not downloaded, now's a good time, by the way. The club deadline is in an hour. So you've got plenty of time. Got an hour till the club deadline. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave the team as is. I know I've got like Livramento and like really I should start Mateta ahead of Njai, but I have Mateta in my FPL team, and what I like to do with club is I like to try and hedge my bets a little bit. So I think I will hedge my bets and I'll leave Mateta on the bench, because if Mateta hauls in FPL, like it means my club won't be as good. But yeah, I can't meet with Manny because I met with Manny earlier and I don't have any gems. I'd have to sit there and watch ads to meet with Manny. Check Sofa Score for lineups. Sofa Score, just guess. I doubt Salah's benched. I think if anyone's benched, it'll be Verts. Surely it's not Gakpo. I'm surprised that Isak starts. I don't know where this rumour is coming around. I'm very surprised if Isak starts, but everyone's been telling me. Ross, can you put FPL Therapy on Global Player? I don't really know what that is. Is that an audio platform? I don't know. We're going to find out in 5 minutes, so we'll just wait. We'll wait for the official news, because I think a lot of people are guessing at the moment. Right, where was I? Pickford starts. No way Pickford starts. Where are you getting this news from? Check KSI's team, Ross. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it stink? My prediction is that Isak doesn't start and everyone's absolutely waffling. There you go. There's my prediction. No Isak start. There's a load of waffle going on. That's my prediction. Ronaldo starts for Man United. Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. Anyway, guys, please do check out Club. There's a link down below. Completely free. Got loads of people in it. You got me. You got Pickle in it. That's Mrs. FPL Pickle. You got me in it. That's me. You got FPL Harry in it. There's Harry. Probably more people to be added soon. And Manny, of course. People will know Manny from YouTube FIFA days. Red memorabilia leaked the team. Oh, okay. That's a person I trust. That person's got it right numerous times. What is their exact account name? Do you remember? Oh, no. It's this one, isn't it? Oh, there's no verts in there. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's bad. Oh, God. I just want to quit FPL this season. I'll stay till the Liverpool lineup's confirmed, then I'm quitting. So people that have made a terrible transfer to do verts to Semenyo have got away with it. Pickle was one of them. It was a terrible transfer. No one predicted a verts benching. That sucks. I hope that's wrong. This guy's always right. So yeah, he could do something off the bench, I guess. That's tough. It's tough. It's tough to take. Right, are we quitting FPL or do we quit? Do you know what surprised me is that it was Verts' best game was midweek. So this is the Vert start to the game week ever. Just wild card. It's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal. Maybe we do wild card now. Maybe that's the final straw. Maybe I can't deal with having maybe I can't deal with having verts any longer, for goodness sake. I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't, I'll be honest. I didn't bench boost, no. But he'll come off the bench. Unless he's not in the squad for some reason, he'll come off the bench. That's the leaked lineup. I mean, we'll see it in 2 minutes if it's right or wrong. So what time will the wildcard stream be, Ross? Oh, goodness me. I don't want a wildcard. Oh, Verts was such a bad pick. Such a bad pick. Ross, why is Watkins yellow/gold in club? He's not, he's purple. He's purple. Surely it's just a wild card from bad vibes, though. Yeah, I think I need to just wild card. I did not expect Verts to be that terrible of a pick. I mean, sucks for Liverpool. Liverpool have spent the most money ever on a footballer in the Premier League, and he's not even getting in their starting 11 every week. That stinks. I'm hoping that team is somehow wrong, but it probably isn't. Oh, yeah, if he's got a gold ring around his name, then it means he's low on his contract. You need to renew his contract. Yeah, Verts is on the bench. Sucks. Right, I'm going to go crash out. Time to crash out. Verts benched. Might hit the wildcard button so hard you can... What a stinky, stinky, stinky player. Like, stinks. Stinks. And people all week have been yapping on about Bruno Fernandes. Bruno isn't on the bench. Stinks. Not only bad in FPL, but so bad at football that even Liverpool won't play him. Bad. It's one thing. Being a bad FPL option, that he stinks so much that even slots had enough. What's the Liverpool team? Liverpool team's as you'd expect overall. Keane is there. Branthwaite's still not in the squad. Right. There we go. Time for FPL therapy. I need more than therapy. I need much more. I actually do. I do think that will probably push me over the line for a wild card, because I said that I can get to this team. The thing is, Wirtz will start next week against Palace. But can I have another week looking at that man in my team? I'm not sure. I guess it would depend how the rest of the players get on. So yeah, let's have a look how we get on today, and we'll assess. I also need to see what price changes are likely to take place as well. If there are tons of price changes, it might be enough. Falling in price. Giyu's going to fall in price again. For God's sake. Oh, God. They don't know that there's many price rises, though. There's no players as of right now predicted to rise in price. So it might be that I can get away with delaying the decision. Who knows? Yeah, we need a Wirtz off the bench. Anyway, very, very lucky for people that sold Wirtz this week. I'm not going to lie. Not that you would have done anything anyway, but that is crazy stuff. Right, guys. I will absolutely update you, by the way, throughout the day. So keep an eye on my X/Twitter later today. I probably won't be tweeting throughout the day, but later today I'll have a think and I'll try and make a decision. If there aren't tons of price changes today, though, then maybe I do delay the decision one more day, because if it's not going to affect me, I don't need to rush to the decision today. But this has certainly made a wild card more likely, I would say, overall. Just because it's one extra player. Like, I thought at least with Wirtz the minutes were good. If he's also not starting every game, then yeah, that's a possible issue. Right, guys. Much love. I appreciate you all for being here. Absolutely legends. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you at the very latest tomorrow for a transfer plans video where I'll go through my updated plan. Bye, guys.